Oh, there we are. I appear to be live now. I've never seen one. No one has, but it's a white hole. A white hole? Hi, Ash. My mic should be working. Yeah, it appears to be. In tonight's stream, we will probably talk about food, Sonic, and My Little Pony, among other things. When we find the time, we'll watch Little Red Dwarf. That's pretty much how it goes. Hi, Special Iron. Let me move my mic away from me a little more. Hi, Death's Head. I finally caught a stream at the start. Welcome to Dinotopia. Oh, now my mic's in a bad spot. I can't. There we go. That's a little better, I think. What season are we on? 10. Hi, Noah. Well, it's 1 o'clock. Maybe I should just get started. I'd usually catch one like a half hour or more and think there's no point. There's always a point. Hi, Moonbeam. I guess I'll wait until it appears that people are done coming in for a while to get started. Wait till 10? Next few posts are just going to be me saying hi to people coming in, aren't they? Probably. I'm going to turn my heater on. Ideally, I should probably be wearing something warmer right now, but I'm too lazy to change. Is there Crystal Light in Dinotopia? No, normally I would be having a Crystal Light drink, but I've had to drink so much water today because I had hiccups. I had really bad hiccups earlier, and the only way I know to get rid of hiccups is to like hold my breath and just chug a whole bunch of water. And I've had so much. I have water with me, obviously, because I need it because my throat's going to get dry from talking too much. But I'm going to try to only drink it when I absolutely have to. Hoping folks are well. Clocks will go forward over here tonight. Okay, so things will line up again next week. I thought about mentioning that in my Twitter, like keep daylight savings time in mind or something to that effect. But I for some reason I figured you guys had already set yours. I'm a case in point and also a space case, or maybe a suitcase. Having fun playing Resident Evil 4 Remake. Yeah, I watched Game Grumps play it the other day. I think we're all head cases to some degree. What is the qualifications for a cat episode? I'm not sure what you mean. As in, like, how do I handle cat episodes? I just kind of go over every episode but focus on cat. And just comment on his behavior and his clothes and everything. I love crossover fan fiction. They always think up strange combos, and sometimes they work really well. I found a Harry Potter JoJo's Bizarre Adventure crossover, and it's super fun. Yeah, you never know sometimes. I was going to say that I read one that was a crossover between Panzer Dragoon Saga and Ranma 1/2, but it really wasn't that great, but it was at least interesting. No episodes that are the fault of Cat? I don't know what you mean. Okay, well, it seems like people are mostly done showing up for a bit, so I'll get started. Resident Evil 4 Remake makes me feel old since I played and loved the original back in the day. I never really got into Resident Evil 4, as I've said before. The beginning of that game is just too fucking hard. I mean, I'm still not quite sure what your point is, Styx. I mean, I didn't do a cat episode from Promised Land because he didn't really do much. Hi, Abtruse One. I mean, I obviously didn't leave out Can of Worms, so I don't know what your point is. Unless you're saying I should? Whatever. Let's watch this. So now we are up to Trojan, where we learn that Rimmer isn't quite the unique phenomenon that he always thought he was. Yup. It's a good episode. And I don't have to skip the openings anymore because they're only like 5 seconds long. Welcome to Season 10. Turn it down a little on my end.
You lazy fat pig. Hey, what's this? Found that in Peterson's quarters.
10 seasons in, and Peterson is still being referenced. So Lister mentions an interesting statistic. Actually, how many? Sorry, I was looking away. 14. We're up to 14 on the Peterson count. 10 seasons in, and Peterson is still being referenced. So Lister mentions an interesting statistic he read regarding moose and traffic.
20% of all traffic accidents involve the moose. Well, if they're stupid enough to let them drive, what the hell do they expect?
Remember this, it'll be... Oh, I get it. You mean cat episodes of Red Dwarf. So I thought you meant cat videos, like my cat videos. I see your point now. Yeah, there basically hasn't been a cat episode. I mean, Waiting for God was borderline a cat episode, but not really. Be on the test later. Yeah, I misunderstood you. Sorry about that. Rimmer retook that test that he's been failing since the pilot episode, and he's about to read the result.
I want to be an officer, Crichton. I've always loved leading. Bossing people about, sir. Exactly.
He already does that.
Well, aren't you concerned, though, sir? If you fail, you'll spend another weekend sobbing inside a cupboard. I've only failed 9 times, Crichton.
I just realized cupboard is what you guys say instead of closet. I thought he meant cupboard, like as in under the kitchen sink or whatever. So that was always funnier to me than was probably even intended. So Rimmer's approaching this one with a different mindset.
I expect to fail.
Well, after you fail 9 times, I think that's pretty much inevitable.
But I've decided not to be so hard on myself.
Also, here's one of my favorite Rimmerisms. Yep.
If I pass, splendissimo. If I fail,
hey-ho, pip and dandy. That is just the rimmeriest Rimmerism that ever rimmered.
Whatever the result, I shall accept it with calm equilibrium.
And Crichton is just like, good for you, sir. And, yeah, we know where this is going.
Can you never ever succeed at anything? You useless, rancid, cancerous sack of sick!
And that's another one. Not quite as good as this one.
Stop your foul whining, you filthy piece of distended rectum!
But it's pretty damn close.
I'm guessing this is a hey-ho, pip and dandy moment, sir.
Back to Lister and Kat. They're watching the future version of the Home Shopping Network. I assume it's automated.
And the Stirmaster stirs your coffee for you.
Hi, Tolchok.
It's total junk.
Buy yours now.
I want one. What about you?
I'd like to order a Stairmaster, please.
I love that phone. You can tell they just took a regular old landline phone, pulled out the plug, and added a chunky antenna.
Have you seen this about mooses?
Anyway, they found a derelict ship and are going to check it out. Lister is taking his phone. This bit with a phone is such a silly running gag. Anyway, it turns out that Rimmer's brothers were captains on similar ships.
Must give you a warm glow in your heart. Yes, it's called heartburn, Crichton.
Kat thinks they could switch
My
ships
hair's bugging
since
me. I
this
gotta
one
put
is
it up.
probably more advanced.
That crane's slower than the speed of dark.
Unfortunately,
Slower than the speed of dark, I like that.
Is not flight-worthy. There must be 40 buttons here.
Meanwhile, Rimmer's inferiority complex kicks in so hard that
They had it all.
he malfunctions for a second.
Did you see that? That was cool.
Hi, Odin.
Do it again.
Oh, don't worry.
Hello? Yeah, still here. Still holding.
Anyway, a little later, Rimmer messes with a rod that basically achieves light speed by bringing objects
Rimmer
together.
messes with a rod. I'm surprised I
and
didn't make
activating the ship's
an inappropriate
system,
joke there.
And they receive a distress call.
This is the Columbus 3. Do you read me? Over. Another ship.
Rog, Columbus 3.
I like how anytime Rimmer tries to sound cool, he just ends up talking like Ace.
What's happening to the chair?
Meanwhile, he's holding the wrong button.
This is Columbus 3 to come in. New copy, over. Need help and fast, over.
That voice sounds a bit familiar.
Ship will impact meteor storm in 17 hours. This is ship hologram Howard Rimmer.
Oh crap, it's his brother Howard.
What are the chances? It's extraordinary.
Did the rod do this?
I can't meet him. He's a captain, I'm a nobody, a vending machine repairman. I can't save his life, it's too embarrassing.
So yeah, they could get there right away, but Rimmer wants to pass his test first.
But sir, we could be there in a matter of seconds.
Crichton.
And he tells Crichton to erase the last few minutes of his memory. Back on Red Dwarf, the bunk scenes are back for real now, as Rimmer is studying while Lister is still on hold, and he's determined to wait it out.
If Kachansky walks through that door now and wants sex, I'll wedge it in my bum crack and get to work.
Oh, that's a lovely image. So guess what
Isn't it?
question Rimmer is stuck on?
It's 1971. A Swedish man crashes into a tree. What causes the accident?
You've probably got to be pretty damn smart to get a question like that right. He sweared to avoid the moose.
Are you insane? How can it be a... It's a moose.
Sometimes life is good.
So now Rimmer has to ease his ego by asking Crichton, because Lister probably got lucky. It can't just be common knowledge.
What causes the accident?
It's a moose, sir. He swerves and hits a tree.
But Cat definitely won't know it, right?
It's 1971. A man...
Was he Swedish?
Yes.
A moose. He swerved to avoid it and hit a tree. The moose is on the road, by the way, not in the car driving.
Rimmer's just done now.
So unfair.
And... blue screen of death. Best face award for the entire series.
Spinning beach balls of doom. Get out the film.
I had that as my banner image on Facebook for a while.
Tips.
So they
Close up
draw
of
him,
Rimmer's face.
and then fix him. 3 hours later, notice Lister still has that phone.
Took longer than we thought to rub off the felt tip.
So basically, Rimmer has something similar to Crichton's Nega Drive, and it overloaded. But he's feeling much better now.
This is great. I can finally pass that exam and impress Howard.
Well, your brother.
So he spills the bit about the distress call.
Passing this exam isn't going to solve anything. So I'm an officer on board a beat-up old mining ship. That's not going to impress Howard.
But Lister makes a good point. Basically that this could be a good time for Rimmer to let go of his resentment and make a change for the better.
Or are you going to carry on being a lying, cheating weasel, pretending to be something you're not?
I think we all know the answer to this.
Indeed. So they're on the Trojan being towed by Red Dwarf, and those are some very Star Trek-y uniforms. Lister's still on the phone. So the plan is to pretend that they're the Trojan's crew and Rimmer is the captain.
Now look, I will play along with your silly little charade, but I'm not hanging up the phone.
Well, put it somewhere, hide it.
Here comes Howard, and
This is your ship. You're in the Space Corps.
wow, he's even more Rimmery than our Rimmer.
Yes.
You were an utter twat.
Crichton's like, well, he's not wrong.
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Howie. But I
Utter
made it.
twat.
Enchanté, mademoiselle.
Charmed, Captain Rimmer. Sim Crawford.
By the way, Howard's shipmate is a simulant. Yeah, remember them?
See you in Silicon Hell.
I'm sure this one's friendly, though. I like how her uniform randomly includes a vinyl corset, cause, you know, the female uniform's gotta be sexy. Anyway,
Someone commented that, you know, it might be more that they were going for sort of a robotic, shiny look with the corset, but I mean, it could be both. I mean, I just watched Galaxy Quest last night, and you noticed the only woman on the show, it's like her uniform went all the way down to here, so that is kind of a thing. It's less blatant on Star Trek, but it is a thing that women's uniforms are always tighter and, you know.
wait, time to introduce Howard to the rest of the crew.
Over here we have flight coordinator
Felt like they were
Crichton Krajtinsky.
poking
Wow,
fun
clever
at that.
When we found Crichton, he was a burnt-out wreck on a junk heap.
And you rebuilt him. Give him something to live for.
No, we just hosed him down and gave him a hat.
Speaking of names, he expects way too much from Kat.
Flight Officer Gerald Hampton.
Hampton. Good to meet you, Captain.
My fearless flight commander, David Listerton Smythe.
David Listerton Smythe. So it turns out that Lister
7 of 9. That probably is what they were going for.
Telepath, so now he's got to pretend he can do that.
And again, she looked more sexy than everybody else because she was one of the women.
I'll think of something, and you tell me what I'm thinking.
I'm sensing discomfort, pain. You're thinking I'm squeezing your head too hard.
That's amazing. That's exactly what
He's definitely a Rimmer.
I love this actor.
So now they have to show him around.
He had to
the
have been a
ship
Red
that
Dwarf
they've barely
fan.
been in. Meanwhile, Lister isn't having much luck, so Crichton helps him out. He's a droid after all, so he knows how automated things work.
If you put me through one more department, I will shove this phone so far up your...
Yeah, good work, Craters.
That body language is
Anyway,
great.
Howard is pretty impressed with all that Rimmer has accomplished.
Now you've got it all. The buttons, the blasters, the snug, elasticated jumpsuits.
A little too impressed.
Don't believe he'll survive teleportation.
Apparently the all-droid space station is fairly close by, so she suggests that they go there so he can get medical attention.
On this ship?
Of course on this ship, sir.
Not of course, Lieutenant Commander.
On this ship?
Of course on this ship.
Like I said when I covered Red Dwarf USA, some of the humor in Season 10 is kind of Seinfeldian.
Don't you know the difference between seltzer and salsa? You have the seltzer after the salsa.
Navigation officer, plots a course.
On this ship?
Of course on this ship.
But are we in the...
Just do it.
I'll teleport ahead to the space station and have Medidroids on standby.
Anyway, Rimmer tells Crichton to drain Howard's resentment like he did for Rimmer earlier, and then they'll teleport him.
I'm gonna get me another felt tip.
And then he gets himself lost.
Because you were so jealous of me, it froze your entire system because you were so jealous of me. I made you that jealous. Me.
Try not to be so happy about it, Rimmer.
I've got a confession to make.
Turns out that Rimmer isn't the only Rimmer who has been pretending.
But I'm not a captain. I'm a vending machine repairman.
Oh god, that's amazing.
The ship was under attack. I leapt out of bed and hid under a table.
Not to mention that his entire crew was killed off, leaving only him and Crawford.
Who attacked your ship? Did you ever find out?
Isn't it obvious?
Gosh, the simulant turned out to be evil? I sure didn't see that one coming.
For years I served the human race, doing their bidding, but no more. I want the Trojan data files.
On this stream? Of course on this
I
stream.
love that she's plugging USB drives in her neck. She wants the rod, so of course now is when Lister's call finally
She
gets
wants
through.
the rod. How did I say stuff like that without making it dirty? At least not intentionally.
I am going for the phone.
This might be my favorite Lister moment of the whole series.
I mean, I'm the last human being alive, damn it! And if I don't answer that phone and make a formal complaint, then who will? I'm a human being, goddammit!
I like how I don't think he's ever said "God damn it" before, and now he's just said it twice. That's how mad he is.
And if I have to die so that no other life form has to go through this maze of hell, and so be it.
Stick it to the man, Lister. I seriously think about this rant and smirk every time I have to make a call where I get put on hold.
It's true. I'm always thinking like I'm a human being, god damn it.
Evil psychopathic droid in the room.
Going for the phone.
Here we go. Lister dives for the phone. Crawford shoots at Rimmer. Howard takes the shot. Crichton grabs the USB drive containing all of Howard's resentment.
Mr. Hampton, sir.
I love that he uses Kat's fake name like anyone would be paying attention to that now. Has Kat
Mr.
plugged
Hampton,
into her
sir.
netport. And blue screen of death.
Hello?
Poor Lister. Meanwhile, Howard is dying, but he's at peace.
For the first time in my life, I'm not pretending to be someone I'm not. It feels so much better.
Howard is setting a pretty good example for his brother, isn't he?
I too have a confession.
Maybe Rimmer will finally come clean as well.
This is my ship, and I've got 2 Lamborghini Sesto Elementos. It was a lie. I've only got 1.
Of course not.
I feel so much better now.
Also, poor Howard. It kind of sucks that he had to go out like that. Later, Lister managed to make his own Stirmaster with blackjack and hookers.
Cheers, darling.
A little later, they've gotten a letter.
I informed it of Howard's holodeath so they could update his files.
And never again will I have a flaming mucus ball of resentment smoldering in my gut every time I think of him.
We feel it only fitting that he is awarded the Platinum Star of Fortitude.
But that is the highest military decoration awarded by the Space Corps.
As if an episode was going to end with Rimmer feeling good about himself.
I think this could be one of those hey-ho, pip and dandy moments, sir.
And so ends Trojan. I love this episode, but first a quick rundown of the changes in Season 10. It basically kept the production values of Back to Earth, but it's also gone back to more of a sitcom-like format like in the first 2 seasons. So it's a weird combination of being more modern and polished while also a return to form in a way. And can we talk about Lister's dreads for a minute?
Oh, yeah.
They probably look better and more realistic here than they do in any other season. There's more of them, they're longer, and they appear to actually be woven into his hair instead of looking like they've just been stuck onto the back. Honestly, they look really, really good, and I was disappointed that they didn't continue this look in the following 2 seasons.
Yeah.
So season 10 is kind of the season of Rimmer. We're going to learn stuff about him that we didn't know before, and well, let me just say that some of what this episode brings up kind of comes back around in the season finale. I'll just leave it at that. As for this episode, it's funny how it manages to hit some of the same points as Beyond a Joke, but handles it so much better. Not only is there basically a nega drive, which ends up being Chekhov's gun against a simulant, but a member of the crew meets, or in this case reunites, with his brother, who dies a heroic death at the end. Wow, I honestly didn't realize how similar it was until just now. The guy who plays Howard is great. He must have been a longtime fan of the show, because he plays a Rimmer just about as well as Chris Berry does. It's great that we got to meet one of Rimmer's brothers, and it's not just in an old family video or a side role for Chris Berry. I like the reveal that he's a lot more like Rimmer than we've always been told, only he kind of redeems himself at the end, something that Rimmer probably won't be doing. Other than that, the comedy is spot on. I'll probably be saying some variation of that a lot because season 10 is just absolutely hilarious to me. I guess that's about all I have to say about this one. It's basically another Rimmer episode, but it's splendissimo. Next up is Fathers and Sons. See you then.
Strange. I didn't sense us turning.
Turning now, ma'am. Turning right now, ma'am.
I like how Howard's doing it too. I guess they're kind of pushing him. Okay, let me get caught up on the chat. Hi again, Artie. Yeah, Trojan was a very promising start to what turned out to be a really good season. I love season 10. Like, I don't know that it's the best season, but it's the funniest to me. I think I laugh more during season 10 than I do during any other seasons. Grumpy old men from the dwarf. Oh, come on. They're not that old. Hmm. 14 mentions and only 3 appearances from old Peterson. It's true. It'd be nice if they could bring back Peterson. Like, they're not making any more Harry Potter movies. Splendissimo. I would say Rimmer should cheat, but he's bad at that too. Yep. I love that bit about the rimmeriest Rimmer that ever rimmered. Yeah, that was fun. It's not about the Sturmaster anymore, Crichton. That whole bit was so silly. I loved it. Season 10 was a decent rebound season. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I also liked Back to Earth, but yeah. Who was Lister on the line with? Nobody. He was on hold. I love the confused look on Crichton's face when Rimmer orders him to erase his memory. Yeah, he didn't know where he was for a second. It was so funny. Was he Swedish? A moose. I've seen a piece of fan art featuring Trixie as Rimmer doing that face. I need to see that. This is basically Beyond a Joke, except it's actually funny. Yeah, pretty much. I didn't think Beyond a Joke was all bad, but yeah, it's definitely a better episode than Beyond a Joke. I think we all know the answer to this. Chris Berry always with the great delivery, yeah. That line felt kind of meta, too. Same artist that did the fan art with Rainbow Lister. I don't think I've seen that. I do like that they wanted a badass space military uniform, so ripped off the later DS9 era uniforms. Did they? I guess it does look a little... Yeah, that's right, because they had gray on the shoulders by then, didn't they? DS9 uniforms weren't sparkly, though. Mr. Listerton Smythe. I think I talked through that originally, but yeah, I love that. Listerton Smythe. Just realize that Rimmer's H is smaller. Yeah, Rimmer's H got pretty small by this point. Sim Crawford easily evil. That does bug me a little bit that they just have a you know, a simulant on the show, and it's like nobody reacts, like nobody expects her to turn evil. That just seems like kind of lazy writing, maybe. They 7 of 9'd it. The TOS uniform where the women wore miniskirts because professionalism. Funny thing about that, I watched a video all about the how the uniforms have changed and how they, you know, each one, you know, came from a different, you know, came during a different era. And in the 60s, it was considered empowering for a woman to wear a miniskirt because that was, you know, that was slightly more, you know, new at the time. So, but then you have, you know, the female characters wearing miniskirts in the shows now, it feels kind of sexist, whereas in the 60s, it was empowering. So I thought that was kind of interesting. For its time, it kind of made sense. Makes me think of the outfits that Deanna Troy had to wear, those wide V-necks. True. Technically, they weren't uniforms, but she wore them on the job, so you could consider it a uniform of sorts, I guess. I was thinking of her, too, until they gave her a real uniform in later seasons. Marina Sirtis has commented that her character got smarter after they put her in a uniform. Yeah, I wonder what the real reason why 7 of 9 had to wear a skin-tight outfit. Yeah, I can't really think of an in-universe reason for that. I'm guessing that was common with Dave-era Dwarf for guest actors to have been longtime fans prior. I believe the people who worked on the special effects were fans, and I think they did it for... I think they did it for free, maybe. I love how they tried to respond to this comments about sexism in Trek and early TNG by giving some of the background guys skirts. Yeah, that was certainly a choice. Damn it, I lost my place. There we are. Excuse me, oh my god. Excuse me, oh my god, that just came out of nowhere. Season 10 is loaded with non-stop jokes. It is very joke heavy. I think it works better than season 8 in that regard, though. My black cat watches Red Dwarf with me sometimes. Excuse me, oh my god. These fucking hiccups coming back again. I hope not. Yep, they're back. Okay, I have to go to the bathroom in a minute anyway, so I'll just drink a whole lot of water while I'm in there. Again.
It shows how dim Howard was if he seriously thought that Sim Crawford would never turn on him. Oh, excuse me, very true. Okay, I'm gonna have to... Fuck! Clicked on the wrong thing and it's being stupid now. There we go. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, hiccups are gone for now. I honestly was gonna stop streaming if my hiccups came back right before I was gonna start. If I'd known they were gonna come back, I might not have streamed. Anyway. I like to think that Janeway ended Voyager by using the Borg Queen as a stirmaster. Does make you wonder about the rest of Rimmer's family. Yeah, that's true. So Cat kills his polymorph babies, kills the simulant in season 10, and kills the evil scientist in Cured. Cat was still a badass in the new seasons. That's true. He did have some badass moments. Season 10 felt like really good fanfic. It feels like the classic seasons, but there's something slightly off in the tone and the voice. I don't really see it. Hi, Jane. Yeah, Back to Earth was season 9. I know you wouldn't think it would count as a season because it was only 3 episodes, but they do refer to it as season 9, and you know, this is 10, so Hi, Adam. Late to the stream, but I can say now I legitimately forgot how funny Trojan was. Trojan is fucking hilarious. Like I said earlier, season 10 in general is to me. Still something missing from the equation, but it's still a much better effort than season 7 to 8, where I don't feel like there's anything missing. Just feels different to me. I agree that it's better than season 7 and 8, though, for sure. By the way, after we finished the last stream comparing Red Dwarf to the Wizard of Oz. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I had the following image: lions and tigers and bear. Oh yeah, how am I looking? Hi, Taijan. Damn it. Hi, Flash. You just missed Trojan, just one episode. It was a good one, but it was just one. Depends on how you look at it. Production-wise, Back to Earth is Series 9. From in-universe standpoint, there was a Series 9 where Kachansky dies and Rimmer dies and becomes a hologram, yeah. Star Trek changes uniforms all the time, well, yeah. Yeah, you didn't miss Fathers and Sons. That's another really good one. Also, Lemons. Oh my god, Lemons. Oh god. What's the best episode of season 10? It's hard to choose. What's your favorite Silent Hill 2? OST? Oh, you mean like a song from the soundtrack? Also, hi, Erms. Bebop. Favorite Silent Hill 2 song? Oh, it's been a while. I'm not sure, honestly. I'll have to think about it. I think in Dina's case, I think the idea was that... Oh, Deanna, sorry. I thought you were saying Dina, but you misspelled my name. I think in Deanna's case, I think the idea was that she's the counselor. They felt that people would feel more relaxed in her company if she dressed slightly more casual. Yeah, that makes sense. The heartburn starts. I rewatched Series 10 the other day. Lemons is my favorite. Lemons was really good. Ask Lee to scare you. Terra and Soul, it's your time. I think Curtis's best work was on Gargoyles. A whole lot of TNG actors on that show. I know, it was a kind of a Star Trek reunion. I don't speak Spanish, El Chesai. Struggling with a cold right now. Yeah, that's definitely no fun. We need to scare Dina to get rid of the hiccups. Dina, they just announced Christopher Gans is taking over the Hellraiser franchise. Oh, God. Winter is over in the northern hemisphere, thank goodness. Yeah, yeah, we're definitely past winter here, but we're still getting some rain, but I think the rain's tapering off. Damn it, I lost track. I lost my place again. There we go. I remember hearing that the last Hellraiser film with the female Pinhead, which is ironically more faithful to the original story, was pretty good, all things considered. I've heard mixed views about it, but everyone seems to like the new Pinhead, so that's cool. The lady who played Pinhead was non-binary. I don't know that... Does non-binary count as trans? I guess it depends on the person, maybe? I don't know. In other news for the British viewers, apparently the comedian James Acaster is in the next Ghostbusters. I don't know who that is. Remakes can be good if you don't half-ass it, and it depends on name recognition to be profitable, yeah. Animated Red Dwarf. I don't know where you got that from. Canonically, Rimmer's dad was a puffed-up loser, which is why he was so hard on Rimmer. He was so hung up on not getting in that he put him through hell, yeah. Why are British TV seasons so short compared to American ones? I don't know the reason for it. It might be a budget thing. It might also be that they just handle shows differently over there. Series and seasons are the same thing. They just call it something different. According to TV Tropes, most people see Season 8 as the better one, with Season 7 as the worst? Oh my god. I don't know. God, that's a tough one. No, because Season 7 had... Yeah, no, I don't agree with that, because Season 7 had Tika to Ride and Stoke Me a Clipper, which were both good episodes, so nah. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I also agree that it's better than Season 7 and 8, not that that's a particularly high bar, yeah. British series are short year on year because they do not have the same compulsions to sell ad space. That's a good point. Different production philosophies. American TV tends to have a writer's room with multiple writers working on a season, while British TV tends to have only one or two writers. Yeah, that makes sense. I did it again. Fuck. There it is. Lemons is usually the first episode I think of when it comes to Season 10. I love the actor who played Jesus. Yeah, he was so funny. Ad streams and revenues are much higher in the US. Can sustain the longer pay. All that being said, British shows used to have many more episodes annually. Rain wouldn't be unusual if you were in the UK. We have it all year round. Yeah, well, I live in California that catches on fire every summer, so... I'm hoping there'll be less of that this year. Fewer fires would be nice. Winter doesn't end in Canada until practically a month before summer starts. This should scare Dina. I've just seen more news about the upcoming Silent Hill 2 remake, and they've just confirmed it will be snow instead of ash. Non-binary can be under trans. Okay. I guess I have seen non-binary people identifying as trans, come to think of it. I think trans is for when a person's transitioned to the other gender. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it too, but, you know, I'm not gonna I'm not gonna die on that hill or anything. It's not really for me to decide. So, like, the person played Pinhead, like, they identify as non-gender. They're about... oh my god. Can't fucking speak. They identify as non-binary, but they're still female presenting, I think. So I think that's why I didn't think of them as trans, but I don't know anything. James asks, Acaster is most famous for the clip of him from Great British Bake Off that became a meme where he said, I started making it, had a breakdown, bon appetit. I don't think I've seen that, but... Series 7 also had the Rimmer. Yeah, Blue was another good episode. I like that Season 7 still had some depth to it, and Season 8, I mean, like, yeah, Season 8 was funny, but that's kind of all it was. There was no depth to Season 8. Season 7 at least felt like Red Dwarf. Season 8 was the Red Dwarf character shoehorned into something that was decidedly not Red Dwarf. Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah. I agree with that. I think the one particular difference is that shows over here usually just have one or two writers, whereas they have whole teams in America, and yeah, budget, yeah. Also, Rimmer referred to Crichton as a metal munchkin in this episode. I'm guessing Rimmer saw the experience. Learning so much about British TV, yeah, same. Yeah, I mean, I know that British seasons are shorter, but I never really thought too much about why. I guess I figured it was budget, but yeah, all that other stuff makes sense too. Because they air fewer commercials, so I imagine they have less of a budget. Ash instead of snow, yeah. I don't know how the whole binary, non-binary thing works. My daughter understands it a lot better than I do, and she's only 15. Yeah. I think that Rimmer's dad had more than one issue, yeah, probably. Guess having shorter seasons mean that our shows stay fresh for longer and take a longer time to outstay their welcome. That's a fair point. Let's watch the next one. I think it would take me more time to try to skip past the opening, so there isn't really any point. I'll just let it play. Well, that's kind of interesting. Only 3 seasons ago, Lister was playing what was basically VR. I guess he's a retro gamer now. Anyway, it turns out that Lister has just come back from the Dentabot.
As soon as that robo drill started screeching, I bet you were gone.
Yeah? How'd you know that?
You're still wearing a bib.
But that's okay, he's got Gelf Hooch.
Can't feel a thing now. Anywhere. Starting to worry, actually.
Meanwhile, Rimmer keeps hearing a noise.
All over the ship, wherever I go, there's this really annoying whiny sound.
Yeah, it's you. Stop talking, it goes.
Still there.
You're still talking.
Anyway, Rimmer thinks that it's because the ship is falling apart and he would like some help, but Lister's busy.
I'm getting drunk. That's your day. Not just any old drunk. I'm talking traffic cone hugging, pavement licking, kishnicked.
So here's the thing. Since Lister is his own dad, see Ouroboros in season 7
so
for the
funny.
explanation about that.
I love all
So
this.
therefore I shouldn't get any Father's Day cards?
He makes himself a card every Father's Day, then gets super drunk so he'll forget what he did, and it'll be like getting a card he's never seen before.
He never forgets his old dad.
That's... I don't know what that is. Creative, I guess. Also weird.
Oh, look, a bit of popping up.
Your old Papa Dom. But Rimmer points out that
think it'd be
Lister was
stale.
kind of a crappy dad to himself.
That's true, yeah, that's right. That's not right, that is it?
There it is again, that whiny sound.
You're talking again.
Later, Rimmer and Crichton are
Love that
taking
running
some
joke.
kind of inventory. It turns out that Crichton has been playing a game with the vending machines.
Got together and played Chinese Whispers. We had so much fun.
Apparently what they called Chinese Whispers in the UK is the same thing that Americans called the telephone game, where one person whispers a message into the ear of the next person.
A random Johnny
and so
Dangerously
on, with
clip.
the final version of the message being something totally different than what it started out as.
Chinese whispers, isn't that racist? Basically what you're saying is that Chinese people can't convey a simple piece of information to one another.
I like how he started to make a good point and then it just totally got away from him.
How come they invented acupuncture, gunpowder, laundry, and those funny little hats?
They
More like it
invented
implies
laundry.
that the Chinese language is gibberish, which is maybe kind of racist.
It's offensive, racist, and wrong.
Also, yeah, we know how concerned you are about offending people, Rimmer. Meanwhile, Lister asks for some advice from the Medibot about how to be a better father.
He's in a rut. To be honest, I know I shouldn't, but I kind of blame myself.
So he's a total bum.
Total bum? I don't think so.
God, this is a weird conversation. Anyway, it turns out that if Lister registers his son in the system, he'll get some free stuff. So he does that.
Set him goals. He doesn't achieve those goals, kick his butt. Kick it hard. Tough love.
Later, Crichton asks a
Tough
vending
love.
machine if Chinese Whispers is racist, and she promises to ask around. She ends up asking Kat.
I don't know, 16. Let me ask around.
Yeah, I think we see where this is going. It turns out that they got a new computer
You recognize
system from
Michael Keaton.
Trojan.
We so miss Holly.
It's true, we just don't get the same quality of cock-up these days, do we?
Same quality of cock-up. Yeah, the reason I used that clip, for anyone who maybe doesn't remember Johnny Dangerously, there was a bit where someone was trying to get a message to him, and they basically used the telephone game to do it, and by the time it got to him, it was entirely different, but he figured it out anyway. The guy's like, that's not what I said. And he's like, yeah, but I know this line, or whatever.
I assume that's the derelict Crichton is referring to.
Male or female?
Female, not really bothered. Doesn't really matter. Female.
The short version of this conversation is that Rimmer is acting like he doesn't care what the computer looks like, but he's consistently making choices that will result in it looking like a young, conventionally attractive woman.
Blonde.
Then we get to this part.
Breast size.
Go
I'll choose the first one, 30A.
Hang on. What's that one down there at the bottom?
That's 36D, sir.
Fine, go with that one.
I've already highlighted 30A, sir.
Okay, I'm pulling rank.
Wow.
Personality.
Whatever.
That's stuff he genuinely doesn't care about.
Oh, I really like that frame size, don't you, sir?
I never noticed Rimmer's reaction before. He's like, wait a minute, I can't see her boobs at all. Anyway, her name is Pri, and her main function is being able to predict the crew's behavior to save time.
You will discuss my potential for changing your lives and reach the conclusion that you're looking forward to seeing me in action. Your next conversation is a conversation about not having the previous conversation.
How much time does it really save, though, if she has to explain all of that? Lister is still drinking his hooch. This is almost a running gag, like the phone in the previous episode.
Got a job for you.
I know.
And there's the traffic cone again, along with the shopping cart. This is kind of referencing a gag from The Last Day. By the way, thanks to everyone who shared their drunk traffic cone stories in the comments section. Those were a lot of fun to read.
They were.
Here's an interesting fact. Poor Craig Charles actually had the flu while filming the scene, so he genuinely felt lousy. It really helped with conveying Lister's extreme hangover, though. Anyway, he finds a VHS tape. I guess they don't use the triangular ones anymore. Which he apparently made while drunk.
Hi, son. It's your old dad here.
Oof, that's a lot of shots.
I don't remember making this.
So this results in an interesting conversation.
Never encouraged you. Kicked your big fat butt when it needed kicking.
Basically, Lister blames himself for not being there for himself.
And you're not looking after yourself. And you drink too much.
Who are you to tell me what to
You
do?
drink
What have you
too
done with
much.
your life?
Oh, here's my favorite part. First time I saw that, I laughed until I almost couldn't breathe. Anyway,
Yep.
he's got some fatherly advice.
Enroll in the Jupiter Mining Corporation engineering program. Get that filling fixed.
He's supposed to do all that stuff before watching the next tape. So of course he just goes ahead and plays it.
How did it go? Hey, did you make your old man proud?
Now he's in trouble.
You didn't do it, did you, David? No. I knew you'd do that. It was a test.
Sorry, Dad.
And of course he just goes ahead and plays the third message.
What, you think I'm stupid? What the smack? Don't swear.
Supposedly if Lister does that one more time, he's gonna get his guitar flushed out the airlock. But he sees the guitar sitting there, so he just goes ahead and plays the next message, thinking he's being really clever.
By the way, see your guitar. Go on. Go over there. Give us a song. See that tiny speck? Half a light year away. That's your Gibson Les Paul, that is.
Imagine the forethought that went into all of that. Not to mention that Lister would have had to be really drunk to get rid of his own guitar, which we see that he was.
You don't understand me. I hate you.
God, this scene is great.
Glad you had...
I'm surprised I didn't think to reference, what was it called? Marooned. Because that's kind of payback for Marooned in a way, even though Lister did it to himself.
Such a good day, Arnold. So sorry this evening's going to be such a nightmare.
Yeah, that's not ominous. Maybe you should have asked about that, Rimmer.
Put on Victory South for me, will you? A fascinating drama series about the American Civil War where the South win.
I'd say that's a scary thought, but it's hard to imagine things being much worse than they are now. Anyway, she deleted the series.
You could tell which episodes I made while Trump was president. I kept sneaking in little comments like that.
Or wouldn't like it.
I thought you could use that time more fruitfully. Perhaps finally reading War and Peace.
I want to unwind, relax.
You'd think she could have predicted that.
Not read a book that's longer than Rapunzel's pubic hair.
Thanks for that, Rimmer. Anyway, it turns out that there's all kinds of malfunctioning going on B deck. Or B deck. It's hard to make out which they're saying.
I was able to carry out the repairs in the exact manner you would have instructed.
You're saying because I would have cocked all this up, you cocked it all up for me?
Well, I guess we found the flaw in this system.
You now have a conversation with Crichton where you blame him for everything and then stride off indignantly.
Not having to think of anything clever to say is a nice perk, I guess. Back in the Meta Bay, Lister's got to wait in line to see the Denterbot. Wait, who is Cat waiting on? Anyway, Cat asks Lister the question.
Are Chinese whiskers racist? Do you mean those wispy little Mandarin beards like Fu Manchu?
Yeah, here we go.
Do you know who might know that Asian fast food machine on B deck? Taiwan Tony? Taiwan's a bit Chinesey.
Maybe that's racist. I'm not sure. Anyway, Cat is there to grab the last tank of
Not really,
anesthetic.
apparently.
You don't need it, right? Don't need it now, but one day I will.
And of course he's not sharing.
Never ask a cat to share. It's a slash to the face, often offends.
But Lister thinks he can handle it.
Bring it on. Let the drilling commence.
That's a big nope from me. Yeah, I won't judge. Meanwhile, Cat passes the question on to the vending machine called Taiwan Tony.
I ask people who pass, I ask every time.
Thanks.
Back to Lister playing the tapes.
Yeah, that is kind of, I believe that's a, well, I was gonna say I believe it's a white guy. I actually don't know for sure, but it's definitely not an Asian person going by the name in the credits as the voice of Taiwan Tony.
Again, didn't you?
Yes, Dad.
This is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you.
Hello, aspirin. Hello.
And he finds out the hard way that he's been resigned as a Red Dwarf crew member. Does that mean Cat is a crew member? I guess he would have registered at some point to be able to get medical work done.
Your resignation has just been processed, and your free oxygen allowance will terminate today at noon.
Wow, Pre is worse than Queeg. At least he didn't actively try to murder anyone.
I'll just re-enlist.
The only way to re-enlist is to apply for one of the JMC undergrad programs.
Ah, that's why he did it.
Are you 21 or under?
Oh, my haircut is. Does that count?
I'm sorry, former crewman. That makes you ineligible for the program.
Oops, I'm guessing Lister didn't think of that. Again, he was probably drunk anyway.
You're leaving.
No, I'm not. I'm staying here.
Okay, that's creepy. I'm getting Labyrinth flashbacks. Meanwhile, Taiwan Tony passes the question on to Crichton.
Do Chinese niggers have races?
Well, I suppose some of them do.
I like how he doesn't even recognize that this is a variation of the question he originally asked.
I'll ask around.
Yeah, I see what they're doing here. Lister manages to put on a spacesuit before getting forced into an airlock.
Your JMC oxygen subscription will end in 30 seconds.
Stop, man, you're gonna get me stuff on.
This is kind of terrifying, actually.
Have a safe onward journey. Goodbye.
But he just manages to get his shit together before being ejected. Fortunately, Cat spots it, not that there's anything they can do. Because with Lister gone, there's no reason for Red Dwarf to return to Earth, so...
JMC policy dictates the ship should dispose of itself by flying straight into the nearest sun.
This is a little 2001. Which is kind of appropriate since Red Dwarf started off with a reference to that, with the main character being Dave, and the computer having a name that sounded similar to Hal.
How long have we got before we reach the point of no return?
The point where sun cream and floppy hats are no defense because our noses have started melting onto our shoes.
Rimmer always paints such a lovely picture with his words.
How long, you mad goth bastard?
Shouldn't take more than 90
Mad
years.
goth bastard.
That's not too bad.
Did I say years? I meant minutes.
Okay, she can predict what everyone else is going to do, but confuses years with minutes. He's the hero we need, not the one we deserve. That was actually a pretty cool shot.
It's very CG looking, but it's kind of neat with how detailed
anyway, now
it is.
they need to figure out a way to shut off Pre.
Now, if you can unscrew that wall panel, we'll shortcut through the vents.
She combats them by pumping laughing gas into the air.
There's no way through!
Lister has Crichton pull his tooth really quick while he's high on the gas, which is actually kind of a smart move, all things considered. Anyway, another computer gives the final message to Crichton.
Do Siamese sisters get whiskers in stasis? Nah, they don't.
The word stasis causes Lister to remember something. His name was deleted from the list, but his son, which is him, should be on the pending metabay list. So now that he's a registered crew member, he will want to shut her off, so she should just save time and do that.
Your logic is faultless.
Go Lister.
Being brave in a hostile universe.
Later, Lister has gotten his free games package, but he's got to study for an engineer's exam.
0G total football.
Crichton, grab yourself a remote and say goodbye to the weekend. Your mech book's going down, boy.
Well, it was good while it lasted. And so ends Fathers and Sons. That was another great Season 10 episode. Even though it's played for laughs, they come up with an interesting way to explore how Lister has wasted potential. Not like that's never been touched on before, but this was definitely a different way to convey it. I like to think of this as kind of a metaphor for Lister realizing that he's been way too easy on himself and taken responsibility for it, even if it's in a very abstract way. Also, it's hilarious seeing Lister act as his own dad and his own son. This episode is weird. I also love how they brought up Lister being
This episode
his
is
own dad,
weird.
just having an episode almost revolve around it in a completely comedic way, where Ouroboros played it mostly straight. I also love how they bring up the telephone game, and by Crichton asking a vending machine if the UK name for it is racist, he inadvertently starts a game of it. That's really clever, actually. I guess that's about all I have to say about this one. I love it, but it's hard to think of very much to say about an episode that's mostly comedy. Next up is Lemons. See you then.
You know who might know? Dispenser 55 down on G-Deck.
Don't waste your time. He know nothing. He all pre-packaged. All microwave.
Serious business. Yeah, hence that old joke in The Simpsons about that British sitcom, Do Shut Up, being the longest running British sitcom, and tonight we're showing all 7 episodes. That was pretty funny. Tina's favorite cat outfit. How long did Rimmer's dad know that Rimmer was the result of an affair with the gardener? Did he know in that classroom flashback or not? Good question. I don't remember if they make it very clear or not. VR is fine and all, but it's also nice to play traditional style sometimes. Well, that's true. Lister and Fry are basically the ultimate inbred heroes. I think we've taken to calling it the telephone game now because of the connotations of the name Chinese Whispers. Yeah. Like, I'm sure it, probably whoever came up with that name maybe didn't mean anything bad, but it does kind of come across a bit bad. Johnny Dangerously, is that the movie with the Weird Al song, This Is the Life? Yes, it is. I haven't seen it in ages. I loved that movie when I was a kid, though. I used to watch it all the time. I think I watched it so much it's not that funny to me anymore. Personality, whatever. And I'm pulling rank.
I once found a traffic cone in the woods. Well, you could probably guess how it ended up there. Wonder if Gelf hooch is stronger than human hooch. Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean, Gelfs are much bigger and, you know. How is it possibly so creepy yet so hilarious at the same time? Oh, is this like the only episode of Red Dwarf you've seen, Moonbeam? I remember a drunk guy bringing a traffic cone into the shop where I worked once. Lister falling around the screen was classic Craig Charles, yeah. And yet the lore of Kingdom Hearts is still more confusing than Lister being his own father. I have heard that. I never really played any of the Kingdom Hearts games myself, but... when Lister's guitar gets flushed out, Rimmer's trunk was avenged. Yeah, there you go. Didn't the Game of Thrones guys try to pitch a show like Victory South? I don't know. I watched Mars Girls stream every single one of the Kingdom Hearts games. Allow me to summarize the lore as I understand it. Heart, heart, dark heart, key heart, heart friendship, dark heart, key heart, heart. There's also a movie called The CSA with that premise. That's interesting. Didn't need that image about Rapunzel, Rimmer. Yeah. He had to, like, he couldn't have just said Rapunzel's hair. He had to be all gross about it. To go further would require a conspiracy board just to understand why the hell they were wearing dark wizard robe hoodies made of leather, sitting on building sides, eating ice creams. That reminds me of how you felt when watching the end of The Promised Land due to Trump recently getting voted out. Yeah. Oh, these videos are a bit of a time capsule, aren't they? Why does Red Dwarf need a bunch of traffic cones? I mean, they do have big, like, you know, rooms where they use big machines. I could see using traffic cones there. I've watched Tangled. I don't need to think of her that way. Yeah. Oh, hi, Hershey. Considering Danny John Jules' political statements, it's not surprising that thanks is delivered as flat as it is. He doesn't even use the cat voice. Oh, Cat, you are such a unique human being. Personal confession, I once had tooth surgery, including drilling without anesthetic. It was not a pleasant experience, but it could have been worse. I couldn't do that. I mean, I guess everybody's different, but anytime, like, they're drilling and the anesthetic starts to wear off a little bit, it's fucking horrible for me. I could not do that. Awake when you had your wisdom teeth out. Oh my god. Book of Eternal Stench, the cleaners, you've really got his attention. Oh yeah, those things were like the cleaners, weren't they? Those spiky things. JMC conduct dictates that the ship must dispose of itself by flying straight into the nearest sun. Oh my god, excuse me again. She disappears in a puff of logic. Speaking of disappearing, I have to go to the bathroom again in a minute. Let me try to get caught up on the chat first. Well, here's my next question. What the smeg are you going to do? So if you're not a crew member, you die. Did Jigsaw make that rule? It's funny how the half-mad computer senile Holly was the best AI the show ever had. That's true. Oh yeah, lemons is next, isn't it? When life gives you lemons, you meet Jesus. Crichton never blew up. He would have no body to help him? Only Red Dwarf could have vending machines with unique personality quirks. My dad played VR for the first time last summer. It was hilarious. Why am I on a boat? Oh, who's that? Why am I on a train with James Bond? Dave, a good dad, but not a good drunk dad. I'm guessing Gelf Hooch is Red Dwarf's answer to Romulan Ale or Pan-Galactic Gargle Blasters. Yeah. I bet Lister is the type of guy to accidentally toss his Vindaloo out the airlock and call for a funeral. Yeah, I remember specifically in Season 8 we saw them using a forklift, I think. Sophia stole my TV remote for revenge for accidentally leaving her outside for 30 minutes. 30 whole minutes, oh no. There's a character in Last of the Summer Wine that has a chippy named after them, and I've been to it. I can't remember their name, but it was a good chippy. Okay. Now it's more slobber than buttons. Only thing I know about Kingdom Hearts is giant key. Yeah, giant key weapons. I'm glad that the worst thing about me getting my wisdom teeth removed was dealing with the holes in my jaw afterwards. Ugh. Yeah, the worst thing for me was actually that, like, I guess they must have put the needle in my in the back of my right hand, because afterwards the whole back of my right hand was all swollen and purple, and that hurt more than my mouth did. Kingdom Hearts, where you can get into a fight with Sephiroth as Donald Duck. Right? Okay, let me go to the bathroom really quick. I'll be right back. All right. Before they drilled your teeth with a bottle of whiskey or other alcohol. Nah. Very paranoid about my teeth. Brush them twice a day, every day without fail. It's not worth the pain for me. I sometimes get up in the middle of the night to brush them again because I'm worried. Well, if you brush them too much, you'll scratch off all the enamel and it'll get worse. Yeah, I wished I took better care of my teeth when I was younger, but sadly I didn't, so. Although, wisdom teeth don't have anything to do with that anyway. All this talk about teeth reminds me, there are dog-like enemies in Resident Evil 4 in the remake. They've been given more teeth than the entire Osmond family. They make Gamork look subtle. That's funny. Glad it took until I was 30 or so for me to get cavities, despite me being absolutely lousy at flossing. Yeah, I don't floss either. I know I should, though. Thankfully, I've got a water pick, so hopefully I won't get any more. Maybe I should get one of those. Who's worse, Hal or Rimmer in one of his rule crazy moments? Okay. Lemons. Hope I'm able to get through all of season 10 today. That'd be cool. We open on Lister cooking some meat.
Steak? What is it, pork? I found a deep freeze down on B-deck next to Crichton's quarters.
Notice that Cat can't identify it, though that doesn't stop him from stealing it.
Catch you later. Maybe needs a little more soy sauce.
This is gonna come up again later. Later, Lister is reading a book. I love the title, The Most Influential Humans. It sounds like it was written by a robot or an alien or something. Anyway, he gets to a bit about Shakespeare.
Plays, poems, and a whole bunch of expressions. A dish fit for a king, that was Shakespeare. What a great expression. In a pickle? That was another Shakespeare expression. In a pickle?
That's also gonna come up later.
Yep. And how is that relevant to our non-pickly lives here in deep space today? When will people learn Shakespeare, it's over?
Rimmer's view on him has changed a lot since Marooned.
It's the only copy of probably the greatest work in English literature. Toodle Pip King Lear, farewell Macbeth, bye-bye Hamlet.
Not that he could quote him anyway.
Now! That's all I can remember.
Anyway,
I just had to include that.
It's
That's funny that I could have referenced Marooned last episode and I didn't, but then here I did.
Rejuvenation shower.
It rewinds each individual's genome and returns the body to any point in its past.
But they have to assemble it, and the directions are in Swedish.
With just an Allen key and a Phillips screwdriver, assembly should take less than 3 hours.
That's Swedish for a week.
Cue this really silly montage of them trying to figure out what the parts even are. Cat's is pretty good, but Crichton's is my favorite. Good old IKEA gags. And here's the final product. I love how parts of it are duct taped together.
What about all these spare parts we didn't use? What the hell's an alignment bracket?
Lister wants to test it by putting something organic inside, so...
Something teeming with life.
Oh, sir, what about your socks? Stand back, everyone, they're coming through.
Unfortunately, the beams hit outside instead and end up teleporting them somewhere.
I fear we may have time
space.
travel, sirs.
I told you those white plastic clippy things were important.
Maybe I should have done a counter on the instances of time travel in this series. It might be even higher than the number of times they've mentioned Peterson. Nah.
We're in a land called Albion, sirs, better known as Britain, and the year is 23 AD.
When Britain's all nutters back then, fighting, vomiting, and passing out.
A phase that doesn't end anytime soon, sir.
Zing. But it turns out that the remote isn't working.
Does it need a battery by any chance? 8 volts, about yay big?
It's easy to miss, but we actually saw Lister throwing out that battery earlier.
We'll make a battery. A potato, a copper coin, and an iron nail. We can make a 1-volt battery. Make 8, connect them up. We've got 8 volts.
Go Rimmer. I like how this implies that he's not dumb, he's just a bad test taker. But potatoes hadn't yet been discovered in Britain, so they'll have to go with lemons, where the closest ones are in India.
If we walk briskly, we'll get there in 6 months.
6 months?
Let's face it, sir, we're in a real pickle.
And here come the Shakespeare quotes. I love their disguises. They find a lady who speaks English.
Where they were sacrificed to the 3 gods. Then the druids drank their blood and ate their meat and said the harvest would be bountiful.
She's kind of fun.
Right, have you got any lemons?
Anyway, she's selling lemons. Wow, they're so happy they hugged Rimmer.
We've walked 4,000 miles.
How many do you want?
8.
Walked across half the known world for 8 lemons.
Have you got a bag?
It's a bag.
Bags haven't been invented yet, sir.
I'm not sure I believe that. How hard is it to think of making bags out of cheap cloth? Anyway, now they've got their lemons. They just need copper.
Isn't Britain famous for its copper?
I said we needed a shopping list, didn't I say we needed a list?
Turns out Lister has some. Now they just need nails, which ends up taking a couple more weeks. But there they are.
She was in Superman 4.
23
That's
AD, They
interesting.
still believed the Earth was flat.
They're getting an interesting history lesson here.
Purple is a luxury item. It's made from crushed seashells, and only the very rich can afford it.
Really? Jesus.
Yes?
Also, there's Jesus.
23 AD, this is when he was supposed
There's
to
Jesus.
He toured the world, perfecting his teachings.
Rimmer is dying to talk to him.
Look, it'll be fine. We'll get talking. I'll
Okay,
tell my
Hershey,
middle
thanks for
name
stopping
Judas.
by.
Yeah, that'd be a great way to break the ice. Also, we finally get into why Rimmer's middle name is Judas.
Judas embodied all the traits my mum wanted me to have.
Your mum wanted you to be a two-faced, double-crossing, conniving snitch. She must have been very proud of you.
She was a member of the Church of Judas.
I thought she was a Seventh-day Advent hoppist.
They believe that every Sunday should be spent hopping.
They believed that Jesus asked Judas to swap places with him. So Judas was crucified, and Jesus was able to show up the following Monday and say, "I'm back, baby, I'm back."
But yeah, that's an interesting take on it.
Judas's full name was James Judas Didymus. James means twin, Didymus means twin. Judas was Jesus' twin bro.
So what happened to Jesus afterwards?
He went to the south of France with Mary Magdalene, had a family, and invented the wheelbarrow.
It wouldn't surprise me if that was a conspiracy theory that some people actually believed. Oh boy, here he comes.
I fear thou art impatient for thine food. Please, join me.
What an honor! Big fan of yours. Big fan.
Rimmer is why we can't have nice things.
Would the gladiator like to join us too?
That's kind of cute that Jesus apparently thinks that Crichton is just a guy in armor.
Most honored, sir. Though I am not a gladiator, I'm a man of peace.
Then thou shalt sit next to me.
He's all, "Senpai noticed me, sirs." Meanwhile, Lister is just like, "This is not going to end well." I love this show.
Right.
For a king.
This is almost as bad as the moose incident.
Mine enemies are many.
Anyway, some Roman soldiers come after Jesus, so they all help him get to a hiding place. With how Red Dwarf is filmed, I'll bet this was one really small set that they just ran through several times from different angles.
Yep.
Anyway, they hide in some kind of storage room where they plan to hook up the battery and go back to Red Dwarf.
Take KC with us.
Well, we can't leave him here, sir.
You'd think that after the JFK incident, they would have learned not to mess with history.
Leave me. I must face thine enemies alone. I have no fear of death.
Stick with me, kid. You'll soon change.
These two are just polar opposites.
We need wire. I'll use my finger.
As if I've smoked some bark from an acacia tree. Bad bark. Well, bad bark.
Jesus is funny.
It stores energy, sir.
Anyway, Crichton explains what a battery is.
Or to simplify, the copper coin, which is a ductile metal with high thermal and electrical conductivity,
He's trying so hard to follow all of this.
all from the lemon.
Interesting. I have but one question. What's a lemon?
Never meet your heroes. Anyway, they managed to get out of there just barely in time.
Lemons truly are an amazing fruit.
Later on, Jesus learns about how amazing the future is.
You can store any object into its strange cloth walls and then carry these objects.
Jesus is a himbo.
Dizzied by its genius.
Jesus is easily impressed. Anyway, Jesus has been experiencing some pain.
Lister, have you given Jesus a vindaloo?
Excuse me.
I love how he takes his bag with him. Anyway, Crichton suspects that it
His
could be
comfort
kidney
bag.
stone. So Crichton is going to operate on him because that's a thing he can do, apparently.
Sir, you remember that stomach pain you had a few months ago?
Yeah?
And remember how
Oh,
that
no.
just sort of stopped?
Yeah?
Well, that's because I performed a splenectomy on you, sir.
Well, where is it? I might need that.
It's with the rest of your organs, in the freezer, next to my quarters, on B-deck.
And there's the payoff for that opening scene.
Excuse me.
Cat definitely got his comeuppance for stealing Lister's food.
Well, we need to insert a laser up his urethra, locate the stone, and haul it out.
Crichton, the only urethra I know is Urethra Franklin.
Urethra Franklin should be the name of a porn star. But yeah, once he
Urethra
realizes
Franklin.
what Crichton is planning to do, he's a bit uncomfortable with it.
But sir, it's a perfectly standard operation.
Yeah, that's because you're not a member of the Schneider Hauser Club.
Sometimes he is, and it's pretty impressive.
We'd run out of anesthetic.
Who needs anesthetic?
I'm just over here laughing at my
Tell
own
him what
jokes.
you're going to do, he'll faint on the spot.
I'm curious how they got Jesus to agree to being operated on, but either way, this awkward scene happens.
Oh, someone's got to hold it while I insert the camera.
I'll hold it. This is the high point of my entire career.
The sad part is that's probably true.
Need anything to do, just holler. There's some books on the table if you get bored, computer games, feel free.
Just a bag.
Jesus loves his bag. A little later,
Mr. Jesus? Oh, he hath risen.
I wonder how long Crichton has been holding on
He
to that
hath
one.
risen.
Jesus is missing, but he left a note.
Who was the idiot who let him read a history book? Didn't it occur to you that him reading about how many wars Christianity's caused might mess him up a bit?
Basically, he's gone back to his own time to trash his own reputation.
So this Christianity thingeth never taketh offeth us.
What about Christmas? We've killed Wallace and Gromit.
I mean, you'd probably still have the same Christmas specials. They'd just be called Winter Solstice specials, and Linus would make a speech about Frigga or something.
Yeah, Christians didn't invent Christmas. They just put a Christian name on it.
Anyway,
Slapped a
that's what
Christian
Jesus
name
is
on
up
an
to, and it's
existing
pretty
holiday.
amazing.
And then my
Celebration,
mind will
whatever.
turn to dark, vile thoughts, and I'll start coveting my neighbour's oxen. And when I finish coveting things, I might make a small statue out of wood and idolize it a bit.
Jesus is dropping all the hot takes.
It's almost as if a man made up these commandments to keep a primitive people in check.
The dwarfers eventually
Sounds
catch
about
up
right,
with him.
honestly.
You want to fight then, doth thou? No, don't think that just because
Want to fight then, doth thou?
Oh God, Lister's gonna fight Jesus.
Get into a little
I
girly
guess it
slap
makes
fight.
sense that Jesus wouldn't fight very well. So Lister tries to convince Jesus to do the right thing. I can't believe I just uttered that sentence.
You make a lot of people happy. I mean, look at me. I presumed that throughout history, all famous people were amazing. And then I met you. In fact, you're a bit of a knob, just like me.
Bit of a
I
knob.
won't walk down the street and have people say, oh, look, there's the Jesus of Caesarea, the guy who caused all the wars.
Oops, twist. Turns out that this is some other Jesus.
Son of Rachel the fornicator, Samuel the chicken stealer. He stole them, not me. Take it up with him. I'm always having a leg up because of him.
So those Roman soldiers came after him in the beginning because his dad stole chickens? That's hilarious.
Is Jesus quite a popular name around here?
Atheist girl would love this
He must have
episode.
class senses. Does this mean I'm not the son of God? Oh, bugger.
Sorry, buddy, you're not going to get tortured and nailed to a cross after all. But Lister has some words of advice.
You've had a little trip to the future. Take what you've learned and do something with it.
Get your bags.
Way to go, Jesus. I wonder if it's his descendants who opened up the first J.C. Penney's. So Lister is taking advantage of being in India and having one more curry before they go back and...
Jesus. Table for two. My brother booked it maybe in his name. Judas.
Holy crap, Rimmer's mom was right.
Rimmer?
Sit down!
And so ends Lemons. This is definitely one of my favorite Season 10 episodes. Like I've said, Season 10 is mostly comedy, which is fine because it nails it, but I always like it when Red Dwarf hits us with a bit of unexpected depth. And in this case, it forces you to consider what Jesus would think if he knew about the darker parts of Christianity that happened after his death. It's played for laughs, of course, but it still makes you think. And then, of course, it's balanced out by Lister pointing out that it was only some people who did that stuff, implying that not all Christians are bad. So the episode doesn't come across as anti-Christian. Maybe it does at first, but then the positives are brought in. Like I said, it balances out in my opinion. Either way, I love that they meet Jesus, and he's kind of an idiot. He's definitely a lovable idiot, though. Seriously, he was a lot of fun. I'm surprised that this episode didn't inspire a new kind of what would Jesus do meme. Then again, they kind of cover their asses with the reveal that this wasn't the same Jesus after all. But the first time I saw this episode, my response was a string of reactions along the lines of, oh my god, I can't believe they did that. I'm guessing being critical of Christianity is less frowned upon in the UK than it is in America. I would imagine that primetime sitcoms in America wouldn't touch this subject with a 10-foot pole. I could be wrong, though. But anyway, I like that we finally get an explanation.
To be fair,
for
I don't
the
watch a lot of
original
news shows, so I could
Technically, we
be
didn't
wrong,
need
like
one.
I
It was
said.
just rule of funny, but the reasoning behind it is interesting. I kind of like that whole Church of Judas concept. Again, I don't know if anyone actually believes that, but it wouldn't surprise me if someone did. Well, I guess that's all I have to say about Lemons. It's a fun episode that throws in a little bit of depth, and I love it when Red Dwarf does that. Next up is Entangled. See you then.
According according to the second commandment, he wipe out all your descendants. Isn't that breaking the sixth commandment? Thou shalt not kill? It's not killing, it's genocide. I think that's okay.
No killing, but genocide is okay. Oh, god damn it. Have you seen the adverts for those Sonic toothbrushes? I have not. I've been reading a lot of history books and they have the worst titles. I can absolutely believe The Most Influential Humans is the title of a real book. Okay, I'll take your word on that. When life gives you lemons, get a tote bag. When I first played Silent Hill 1 and 2, I shouted out, "Where the hell do I go?" I thought you left, Hershey. I guess that's later. Duh. That's right, I read that live. Well, Cat mistook human flesh for chicken and Tika to ride. I'm guessing his sense of smell diminished with his night vision. I don't think he ever had night vision, personally. My gran has a poster of all the household Shakespeare phrases hanging in her house. That sounds fun. I'd like to see that. I'm sure there's a bunch on there that I might not know are from Shakespeare. Excuse me. Red Dwarf does an episode with time manipulation at least once a season. I'm not going to read all those out loud, but yeah, sounds about right. Rimmer taking a test is like a cat trying to swim in a pool. There we go, that's when Hershey left. I got confused and forgot that I read that live. Space IKEA is actually a thing in regular show. They have their own meatball subs. It's meat, where there's a question mark. Why is there a question mark? Don't worry about that. I haven't seen regular show in ages. I think I watched it a little bit while it was new and I kind of liked it, but... Sonic Boom had an episode where they try to build an IKEA shelf. They spend all day on it, plus have some parts and have to reorder it. have lost some parts and have to reorder it. There we go. Yeah, I think Deadpool also made a joke about IKEA. It's such a common thing. I did say Deadpool, didn't I? I can't remember. Anyway. I also love how Kat laps up everything about Rimmer's mom and her religion. Yeah, he was super into learning about that. Jesus sleeping with the bag makes me think of Linus sitting there with his trademark blanket sucking his thumb. Yeah, like I said, it's kind of a comfort bag. If I had a nickel for every time Red Dwarf has made a cannibalism joke, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. So once again, Cat indulges in inadvertent cannibalism. Hi, Teeny Tara. It has a little kitty rubbing on my nags. There are bags, as in something manufactured, we would look at it and say that's a bag, not even counting abstractions like the dried animal organs dates back to Egypt. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know how you would even figure out when bags were invented. It's like figuring out when clothes were invented, you know? It's like such an obvious thing. I love how they say he's not the real Jesus to cover all their bases. Yeah, exactly. I pointed that out at the end. Whenever I see the scene where Jesus tries to fight Lister, it sort of reminds me of the epic slapping match between Tifa and Scarlet in Final Fantasy VII.
Can't wait to see how that looks in the remake. There's a scene in an Alien Nation episode where Matt and George get into a fight, and it's sort of like a girly slapping fight. It's really silly. They're like rolling around, and George gets a little too... they're like on a dock, and they're rolling around, and George gets a little too close to the edge, and Matt's like, "Get away from the water, stupid!" I wish I got that far. That was actually the finale of season 1 that never technically got... Well, in the movies they continued the story, but it wasn't quite the same. I always love the bit where Jesus says bugger so blatantly. Yeah, Jesus was very British, which, you know, maybe that should have tipped them off. The only season 10 character more adorkable than Jesus is Hoagie the Rogie. Oh yeah, Hoagie is great. British people just have more nerve, yep. Can't argue with that. For better or for worse. I think The Good Place was an exception. Its whole premise was basically every religion is wrong about the afterlife. That's genocide, not killing. I think that's okay. I love that woman in India. I like how she was played. She was fun. I liked her. Odie's playing with my mom. I can hear him growling and barking. Cute. I've seen Regular Show before, but I haven't watched it in ages. Like I said, I think I saw it a little bit when it was new. Back during when Lee and I were in the hotel, all we had to watch was TV, and we watched a lot of TV shows that we kind of fell off watching after we weren't in the hotel anymore. Like Regular Show, and there was also Adventure Time and Steven Universe. Like those were shows that we watched kind of only in the hotel, and then we stopped. Rick and Morty we kept watching. It's possible we stopped and then restarted. I don't remember with Rick and Morty. Hi, Tara. I think part of the reason she's here, she's kind of between me and the heater. She likes when I have the heater on. Centuries of scientific discovery with low-tech methods, and then the misinformation superhighway came and ruined everything. Hi, Peter. Tewa Wubs. Even when they fight, Matt and George still care about each other, but then how can you not care about George? I know, right? Oh, I do want to finish those Alien Nation videos someday. Basically tanked my YouTube channel with those, but whatever. Not much I can do about it now, so I may as well keep doing it. If I can ever find the time. Odie just came in to ask me to pick him up onto the bed. Oh. Alright. Oh. Also think the idea eating any part of Lister to be a Vindaloo disaster. It's pre-flavored with Vindaloo. Alright. Full of curry and lager, there you go.
We open with Lister seeing something on the monitor.
It's your kebab, sir, as requested.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god, how would you even eat that? Oof. I guess a better question is, how could you eat it safely? At least he put the fire out? I love how he doesn't clean up after himself, and then he dumps it face down back onto the console.
We have health and safety protocols for a reason, to safeguard the crew.
The original crew, they all got wiped out, remember?
This is an odd conversation because there is still a crew, as in our 4 main characters, just not the original crew.
Well, you didn't fix that drive plate properly, and that radiation leak fried them to a crisp.
Exactly, which is why the whole health and safety protocol procedure has been updated.
Which Rimmer could have pointed out if he wasn't so dense.
Because ultimately, who was truly to blame for that accident? The man or the system?
The man.
A system that allowed a technician to repair a drive plate without adequate training or know-how.
He's actually not wrong. As Crichton pointed out in Justice, the blame ultimately falls on whoever put Rimmer in charge of that job in the first place.
So what you're saying is you learn valuable safety lessons from wiping out the crew, and as a result, it's making this ship a much safer working environment for the crew you wiped out.
Also, they seem to have forgotten that the original crew did get resurrected in Season 8 and are still out there as far as we know. To be fair, though, I try to forget about Season 8, too. It is still a funny conversation, though, if you don't think about it too much. In any case, now Lister has to fill out an accident report form.
You'll have to submit it to the Accident Report Assessment Unit, care of the Health and Safety Executive.
And who the smack would that be?
Me.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
It's 20 pages.
I'll send you on the other sections later.
Meanwhile, Kat's been hunting a space weevil. You'd think it'd be easy to find, those things are huge. But Crichton has been running tests on crystals he's extracted from the quantum rod they got from Trojan. Interesting how that episode keeps coming up.
Seems to be a curious power of
Every episode in
It
this
turns out the cat had a dream
season
earlier
kind of leads
about
back to
Crichton doing
Trojan.
Something like that.
What a weird coincidence.
I think.
Hey,
Maybe
we
not
both
all.
said that at the same time. And that.
Yeah, this is gonna get old.
Probably just coincidence.
Anyway, Crichton thinks he knows how to fix it.
You think that cute thing made us speak at the same time?
I doubt it, sir. Probably just coincidence.
But apparently it didn't work.
There was a fascinating book on the subject by a scientist called Arthur Koestler.
Yeah, and that turns out to be the book that Cat was using to hunt the space weevil. Anyway, the theory is that coincidences are most likely to happen when people are emotional, somehow heightening unconscious abilities.
Only temporarily, sir.
Space Weevil!
Crichton goes to tell Lister about it, but he's away, checking out a moon with life on it that he discovered while eating his kebab earlier. Now Lister needs to be let back in because he doesn't have his key. I don't know why, but I love that he's using...
Sorry, I'm suddenly noticing
Let back in because he doesn't have his key.
that one monitor is like sideways and it's got text on it, but like how would you read that?
I don't know why, but I love that he's using that signal.
I assume that's text. Maybe I'm
Confirmation from
wrong.
one of the scouters. I took Starbuck to check it out.
The life signs turned out to belong to a new kind of gelf.
They're called Begs. Biologically engineered garbage gobblers created on Earth to eat refuse. I wanted to see if they'd help them find Kachansky. They'd not seen it. Spent the whole evening drinking whiskey and playing poker.
Anyway, Lister is beating around the bush about it, but Crichton figures out what happened.
You lost Starbuck in a card game?
Oh, you've spoiled the end now.
But there is some good
Spoiled
news.
the end now.
Speaking of which, Crichton
Why,
is
that's
about
so
to deliver
funny.
more report forms for Lister.
Oh, cheers, Crichton. Night.
Say goodbye to the report forms, literally. Sometime later, it's been a while since we learned about something Crichton could do with an inappropriate body part.
The right nipple nut was used to regulate body temperature, while the left nipple nut was used mainly to pick up shortwave radio transmissions. Just drying the cutlery, sir, using my heat outlet.
Anyway, Rimmer asks about the report forms, and Crichton lets it slip that they ended up on the wrong side of the airlock.
Another accident. That means he's going to have to fill out 2 sets of accident report forms.
Yeah, he kind of threw Lister under the bus there.
Was an airlock accident risk assessment form completed before he opened the airlock?
That may have been overlooked, sir.
Well, that's another set of forms he's going to have to fill in.
Okay, I just want you to notice that Rimmer sets down this box of files and then walks off and leaves it there. So Rimmer goes to talk to Lister about what he did regarding the accident report forms.
I have to say I'm disappointed, but not the least bit surprised.
And of course, Lister thinks Rimmer is talking about the card game.
But let me say right off that I'm truly sorry, I really am.
Lister is surprised at how well Rimmer is taking this, and Rimmer is happy that Lister is taking things so seriously.
Listy, I have to say, I think you've finally become the vending machine third technician of my dreams.
It's cute.
What's this?
The accident report forms.
I haven't got time to waste twatting about with that.
Now it comes out.
Mr. Lister gambled you in a poker game, sir, and I'm afraid to report...
Hi, Kalila. Thank you.
You lost me in a poker game? Like I'm some kind of thing to be lost? In a poker game?
Rimmer thinks they can just cut their losses with Starbug and just get out of there. But there's one problem with that.
That's a groin exploder, sir.
If I don't make good on me debt, and this thing is going to propel my love spuds to the far reaches of deep space.
Man, those Begs don't fuck around.
It's rigged to blow if I tamper with it.
I have to say, I'm taking no pleasure from this. No, wait. In fact, that's completely wrong. I'm taking immense pleasure from this.
Crichton points out that if Lister dies, Rimmer will get shut off, since his main function is to keep Lister company.
You're both sort of connected, like we are. What a coincidence!
In any case, Crichton figures out that the Beggs aren't smart enough to come up with this device, so they must have gotten it somewhere else. So they visit the Beggs and try to make out like Rimmer isn't worth winning. I mean, they could have figured that out after spending 5 minutes with him.
Yes, it is, but as you can see, he's old and raddled and fit for nothing.
Anyway, Lister tries to trick them into thinking that this spoon is really valuable.
No object hath such power.
But the Beggs aren't that stupid and wonder why they don't want it if it's so powerful.
Well, we just don't really use it much anymore.
Also, the Begg leader speaks English.
If it pleases, maybe we will play cards again, and perhaps you will win back your hologram and your ship of green.
But if they lose, the Beggs are going to get Crichton and Cat as well. Rimmer thinks they should play another game because they have nothing to lose. Crichton doesn't think it's a good idea, but Lister insists that the Beggs will lose this time, and he words it in a very convenient way.
If anyone's gonna choke, they'll choke.
So they literally choke.
He's speaking choking to death, sir. It's very hard to translate if you're not being strangled.
And Lister doesn't know how to get the device off. Later, Crichton tells him about the quantum synchronicity that he and Cat have been experiencing. He also thinks that they can use this to their advantage. So they turn on a TV and whatever is playing seems to be in sync with them as well.
He's got to get to the station. It's his only chance.
Maybe some space station.
His fate is written in the stars.
Well, there are stars on the cover of that book from earlier, and also dominoes showing numbers.
Those sound like space coordinates.
That's getting really annoying.
It is. Anyway, Era, the brand name on Lister's Groenel exploder, is the name of a space station, and those coordinates might lead to it. So Crichton explains what ERA is.
It's the Erroneous Reasoning Research Academy, sir, or ERA for short.
And the ideas behind it.
Most of the great scientific breakthroughs come when two theories, previously dismissed as wrong, are combined to make a right.
Two wrongs make a right, that's cute.
But they specialized in wrongness, sir. There were a lot of referees, TV critics, weathermen.
Did it work?
No, the man behind the idea was so depressed he attempted suicide. Naturally, he failed, and he went on to live into his 90s.
Those are some pretty impressive levels of wrongness. In any case, once they get there, they find out that there's another life form in stasis.
Top floor.
Anyway, the way the elevator works is basically backwards.
I'll press down. Now we're going up.
But Rimmer likes it.
I like this place. I'm very comfortable here. It feels like home.
Figures. The stasis units are inside a locked vault, and Lister's Groenel exploder is already starting to work.
Can you just make it quick? Because this is getting hotter. I'm getting baked potatoes.
Sounds like it's getting ready to blow.
Interesting choice of words. So they switch Rimmer to soft light mode so he can go through the wall. This might seem nitpicky, but a couple things bother me. One, I really wish the costume department had made a red version of Rimmer's uniform, like he obviously had in Season 6. It's pretty obvious that they just recolored it digitally, and it just doesn't look right. It's too purple, if nothing else.
Looks
and two,
purple.
I don't know why the surface warps around him since he's a holographic projection. I get wanting to make it look better than earlier in the show, but his just kind of cutting through a surface is really how it should look.
According to the readouts, female, age 31.
Kachansky's female?
And Lister being Lister, he's convinced that it's Kachansky.
Oh, it won't be her. It'll be someone else. Don't even think for 1 second that I think that it's her, because I know it isn't. I know
Oh yeah,
it.
Ghost is a good
It is.
example.
I think it might be.
Anyway,
meet Professor Edgington, head of the
how
ERA
I figured they
Institute
should
and
handle it.
inventor of the Groenel exploder.
yeah, of course it wasn't going to be Kachansky.
Well, it's definitely not Kachansky. She went for me groin.
So back on Red Dwarf, they're talking about how Dr. Edgington was trying to perfect evolution, testing it on herself, and naturally it caused her to de-evolve. Also, I love how her notes include a diagram of a banana. Anyway, Crichton has the machine she used, so he should be able to reverse engineer it to change her back.
If we can evolve her
How does
back
his
to her
light beam
human
go through the
form,
wall?
she may be
Eh.
able to help us.
And it worked. So, here's Dr. Edgington.
Call me Irene, or Professor E.
No points for guessing that she would be a stereotypical ditzy blonde.
Mr. Rimmer. I've always been attracted to the brave, silent types.
I mean, that's pretty much all you need to know about her right there. Despite my snark, I do like her. She's kind of an adorable little dingbat.
Yeah, can you, help me get out of this?
Also, her glasses are upside down.
5 symbols. We have to turn them off in the correct order.
What happens if we choose the wrong ones?
Absolutely nothing. So perfectly safe.
Oh, God.
Basically, they have to do the exact opposite of whatever she suggests.
Alpha, no beta, or delta. Delta or gamma.
The only one Professor E hasn't mentioned is Theta.
So they do that, and it works for the first 3. But once they get to the last one, they realize something.
Her name's Irene, and her nickname is Professor E. Irony. Wouldn't it be ironic if a professor known for being wrong finally got something right?
Make it stop. So they end up going with the one she suggested for the last one, and
That does start getting on my nerves by the
love
end.
spuds will remain intact. Later on,
Do you think it would be wrong for us to make love on our very first evening together?
incoming rimmerism.
I've given this much thought. I don't think it would. In fact, I think it will be absolutely fine tickety-boon peachy.
Fine tickety-boon
Speaking
peachy.
of irony, here's the payoff for Rimmer leaving the box of report forms right next to the airlock. Damn, that's kind of brutal.
You got a pen?
And so ends Entangled. If forced to pick a least favorite episode of season 10, it'd probably be this one. It's not that it's bad, it's just maybe the least good of season 10, which is still pretty damn good overall. I think it just doesn't stand out like the first 3 did. Trojan had Howard Rimmer, which was amazing. Fathers and Sons had Lister getting drunk and arguing with himself via video, and that was hilarious. Not to mention Pre. Lemons had Jesus, twist notwithstanding, which was funny on its own, plus it had a bit of depth with how it took a critical look at Christianity. And after all that, this one doesn't really have anything big in it to make it comparable to those. So I guess it's a bit of a lull in the season, but again, I still think it's good. Technically, this episode is kind of a mess. A lot of scenes had to be filmed later without the audience, and they had to use a leg model for this scene because they hadn't cast Dr.
I think
E
we're
yet when they
halfway
filmed
through
it.
season 10?
I can't confirm this because I don't remember where I heard it, and there's no mention of it in the making of documentary, so it may just be wrong. But I've heard that Kachansky actually was supposed to show up here, hence all the talk of her. I mean, if the Rod can bring in Rimmer's long-lost brother from 3 million years ago, why not Lister's love interest who
Hi, Ray.
disappeared only a few years ago? It definitely would have made sense within the context of this episode. But honestly, Lister going on and on about Kachansky is funnier that way. It feels like a running gag rather than foreshadowing, so it still works. Either way, whatever happened along the way, this episode comes together nicely, so we don't end up with a repeat of Pete. I do like how there was so much talk of coincidences, and the way everything comes together with that is really clever, especially with how they managed to harness it and use it to their advantage, not to mention irony. Speaking of which, I got a kick out of Irene. She was cute as a button, and she and Rimmer made a cute couple for the all of about 5 seconds they spent together. SF Debris said that having her end up flushed out of an airlock for laughs was a little too mean-spirited. I can see that, but at the same time, I kind of get a kick out of how unexpected it is if you don't think about it too much. Just try not to think about that one scene in Guardians 2, or Event Horizon for that matter. This is one of the newer episodes that uses some ideas from the unmade episode Identity Within, namely Lister losing Starbug in a card game against a new race of Gelfs. They even sound like the Gelfs from Identity Within.
Billy Swags and two more.
Good, Uta Swerboy, T Dadido Pifred.
When I covered Identity Within, I got a surprising number of comments where people said, I don't know why they couldn't just make the episode now. Well, aside from the script already having been released to the public, this and Can of Worms is why. It's basically pointless to make it an episode at this time. Speaking of the Begs, their leader is actually played by the same guy who played the Gelf Bride in Emo Hawk.
Oh, yeah.
No Ainsley Harriott this time around, though. By the way, I feel like they vastly improved on the costumes of these Gelfs.
Well, not so
compared
much
to
on that
the
guy's
Hinata
hands.
Wally Gelfs. Also, for what it's worth, I thought the guy in the chimp costume was really convincing. Well, I guess that's about all I have to say about this one. The quote-unquote worst episode of Season 10 is still pretty much a win in my book. Next up is Dear Dave. See you then.
English boarding school, Villangaroo.
He went to an English boarding school? No, sir, he ate someone from an English boarding school. He forced them to teach them English, and then he munched them whole.
Hang on, what number are we on? Oh, we're further along than I thought. We have 2 episodes left. Okay. Okay, we should make it. If barely. I'm hoping we can watch the little Rimmer special that comes afterwards, too, but we'll see.
There we go. That sort of reminds me of something that Rimmer says in Backwards. Oh yeah, Backwards. The problem with democracy is that every single bastard gets a vote. Yeah. Excuse me. What do you think of Rick and Morty being recast because of what Justin Roiland, what happened with Justin Roiland? I think it's a good idea as long as the voices are good. I mean, Justin Roiland hasn't done anything creative on the show in years, so... As long as the voices are good, it should work out. I'll give it a chance. Rimmer already had a reputation for competence, so yeah, it does still seem weird that the crew would assign him to fix something so critical, yeah. You're not done with Alien Nation? I mean, hopefully not. I would like to finish it. That and Monsters. I don't know when. I always figured fixing the drive plate was super simple, like all Rimmer had to do was tighten a couple of screws that came a bit loose, but he managed to screw up even something that simple. Yeah, it could be. Supposedly one of the monitors in the drive room is about the status of the asteroid embedded in the hull. That's interesting. I love the way Crichton waves after those papers almost forlornly. Yeah, that's silly. I haven't gotten time to be twatting about with that. I laughed out loud at that line. Yeah, that's so funny. Can he be on the couch? Yes, he can. He's very spoiled. I hate people who have pets and they don't let them on the furniture. That's just not right. When did Crichton and Kat become BFFs? Roughly season 5, I think. Can't think of Lister, a bionic body part. Oh yeah, that worked really well with the fake arm, didn't it? There's probably fanfics out there where Irene survives and stays with Rimmer. I can believe that. Kind of weird how the 2 episodes they made out of Identity Within tend to be the weakest episodes of their respective seasons. I guess so. I can't think of what the other one was off the top of my head. Yeah, Rimmer always has a pen. Hi, Query. A bad episode of Red Dwarf is still better than most TV. I don't know about that. Depends. Depends on the episode. I would have agreed with that before I saw Time Wave. I like how for these shorter openings you still included all of the main quartet. Yeah, I was very careful about the clips I selected. Lister and Kachansky are already together. His name, Dave Lister. What? So I think that was why in the novel Rimmer had nothing to do with the accident. It was a chain reaction of mechanical failures. Can of Worms is pretty bad. Yes, that was a guy in a chimp costume. A very convincing chimp costume. A warning light fails to go on, and then someone spills coffee on their keyboard. He sees warning blips on his screen, but assumes they're bugs caused by his coffee. Whoops. Here's a question. Do you think Cat trusts Crichton enough to let him do his laundry? Or does Cat still do all his own because he only trusts himself with his suits? I believe they mention Crichton doing Cat's laundry in season, either 11 or 12. I forget which one. Those were filmed at the same time, so they kind of run together in my mind. I've personally become quite sick of Roiland's improvisational comedy. It feels like he couldn't even muster up the effort to half-ass it. I think his improvising is pretty good, to be honest, so... But that doesn't mean someone else couldn't do it. And the coolant system just stops working and no one notices. My mom's now getting huffy with Odie. I think he's asked to come on the bed just to want to get down again 5 minutes later. He does that a lot. Yeah. Oh, you're right. There were elements of identity within in Can of Worms. I'd forgotten. Yeah, because the female cat and yeah. I remember now. I didn't remember at first. I can name comedians who can do his shtick far better with better wit. Very possible. For all its faults, I'll give Can of Worms one due. I love the scene where you see the group wandering around and then a couple of identical groups appears on the screen. Yeah, it had its moments. What a coincidence. Okay, that's getting annoying. Just to confirm, he's still got the puppy eyes. He can still make you feel guilty just by looking at you. Yep. So I have to go to the bathroom again. I'll do that. Let me do that really quick and then I'll be back. Oh, I thought Tara was under my chair. It was just my the heater blowing my dress around. I'm wearing my robe because I give no fucks. I'm cold and I give no fucks. Rimmer was in Fallout 3. He ends wiping out the capital wasteland, including the enclave with Project Purity, because he accidentally got non-mutated DNA. Whatever. I haven't played Fallout 3, so that's kind of lost on me. I know. God, why are you making so much noise? Is it the heater? You happy that the heater's on? She's just being chattier than usual, I think. Some of the leather coating is worn away from that chair. I know, it's an old, terrible chair. They did loan me a chair from work to use for when I'm working. I could probably use it here, but I'll be good and only use the work chair for work. I can picture Rimmer working for Vault Tech as an overseer. The leather was cut off to make a newsboy cap. Excuse me. Dear Dave, in my restless dreams I see that country, Fiji. You promised you'd take me there someday, but you never did. Well, I'm alone there now in a special place waiting for you to be my dad. Wow. I can sort of see Rimmer working as a cleaner for Umbrella and then accidentally knocking over a test tube containing the T-virus. I love how easy it is to work Rimmer into all these stories where something goes horribly wrong. Feels like they only included the multiversal stuff in Rick and Morty to justify Royal only needing to do like 2 voices. Could be. Is that a happy meow or an angry meow? I assume happy. I don't know what she'd be angry about. I sort of heard I'm cold and I give no bucks to be to the or fucks is what I said, but to the tune of I like big bus and I cannot lie. What? He'd either destroy the vault he's overseeing or he'd have the same luck as R.D. Rimmer. I love how they got Christopher Lloyd to play Rick in the live-action commercials because we all know who Rick is a parody of. I don't think I've seen those. I'll have to look that up. Yeah, Rick and Morty were sort of loosely based off of Doc and Marty. I visited my parents yesterday and their cat Missy isn't always the most affectionate, but just before I left she was rubbing her face all over us and purring like mad. It was so sweet. Aww. Where is Soul? I think last time I saw he was curled up on the bed in Lee's office. Odie's very affectionate and very talkative. He's a right character. Yeah. My babies are like that. Especially Tara. Rimmer would be the one who failed to plump up that small thermal exhaust port right before the main port on the Death Star. It'll be like Spaceballs, including Mark Hamill, because he's in Super Monkey Hyperforce Go. It's cool but kind of lame for a parody to do. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Oh, the Christopher Lloyd, okay. Plug, right. Dina in a robe, a special show. The Dina Gives Zero Fucks stream. Rimmer in Titanic is the guard that sees the iceberg too late. Yeah, it was as though she suddenly realized I have a nice home and all these people love me. Aw. Dave Lister, his dad, and Kachansky, his mom, so genetically always together. That's weird to think of it that way. Okay, let's watch Dear Dave. We open on an interesting take on Lister being the last human alive.
I just can't believe it's all over. We were so happy back then, Crichton. I had a species I thought the two of us would be together forever.
One day I'm sure you'll meet another species that'll make you just as happy.
This is just silly.
You never liked the human race, did you?
Quite honestly, sir, I never thought they were good enough for you.
Nothing compares.
Oh god, he's on the Sinead O'Connor phase of grief.
I knew they'd break his heart.
Hi, George.
Here 1 minute, gone the next. Fly by night, liberty gibbets.
Later on, he commiserates with one of the vending machines.
You don't seem your usual self today.
How do you know what my usual self is like?
I watch you through the crack in your door. The things you do when you're alone are so funny.
Okay, well, maybe that was a mistake.
I'll be here.
Meanwhile, apparently someone has been writing letters to the JMC computer saying nice things about Rimmer and how he should be promoted.
They have absolutely no option but to request you stop writing them.
Oh, well, that figures.
Oh, bollocking damn and jumbo buggers.
So many good Rimmerisms in season 10.
Bollocking damn and
this has
jumbo
backfired
buggers.
because now Rimmer is in trouble.
They've looked into your actual service record and
Yes, she has been
realized
fed and
that you
petted.
haven't reported for duty in over 3 million years.
But I've been dead for most of that.
Yeah, that's not really fair, is it?
You're therefore being charged with gross dereliction of duty, and you have 24 hours to present your rebuttal.
If he's found guilty, he'll be demoted to the same rank as Lister.
There'll be no one but you to obey my orders. Help me, that's an order.
Please, sir, don't order me to help you. You know how much I hate helping you.
Right, Dan.
Poor Crichton. Later on, Rimmer gets on Lister about being, well, mopey.
In your mopey clothes, listening to your mopey music, being all
Mopey.
It's time you manned up. Listen to some brass band music.
If there's anyone who should be an expert on what to do when you're in a funk, it's Rimmer.
I've noticed it. And I've written it down in a special report.
Here come the special reports again.
And let me tell you, Milado, I pull no punches. You are the star of your own mopathon.
Apparently Lister has been dunking his cookies in the fish tank because he's too lazy to get a drink.
As long as it's wet and melty, you don't care where you stick it.
Here's another weird conversation. Rimmer tells Lister that he should be ready in case they ever come across a woman, as if it could happen at any minute.
What, you think your old moves would still work today? You think that snaky, sneaky arm round the shoulder trick in a dark cinema is still cool? Women have moved on from that move.
Moves don't move on.
Moves move on.
What moves move?
Do you have any salsa? We need more salsa. Where's the salsa? No salsa.
I was at Super Meat yesterday.
It was pretty
I forgot I
delicious,
used that clip twice in season 10.
You enjoyed it.
I like how the hot drinks vending machine has a smoky voice and a French accent, while the candy and cold drinks dispenser sounds more like an airhead. Anyway, Lister
true.
gets maybe a little too friendly with this vending machine.
Are you eating on me? Why are you eating on a dispensing machine? Who does that?
Who does that?
It's okay, I'm sure Crichton can settle this.
He put his hand on my logo.
That reaction.
Unbelievable. This is going to go in the report.
Later, Rimmer is still trying to figure out how to make up for the lost work time during the 3 million years he was dead. Crichton suggests bribing.
Not a bribe, sir. A donation. Expenditure cut, sir, from the supplies budget. There's an astonishing amount of toilet paper in the 2,143 restrooms going to waste. Toilet paper that never goes into action, never sees the field of battle.
That's a weirdly poetic way to describe unused toilet paper. So yeah, Crichton is going to remove the toilet paper from most of the bathrooms because there are only 2 crew members who use them. Anyway, Kat has some bad news.
Okay, here comes the bad news. But I'm gonna do it as charades.
He means charades, sir.
I love that Crichton explained that. If nothing else, the cat video for this season is going to be fun.
Yep.
Something's happened to Kachansky.
Now the Kachansky quota has been reached for this episode.
Giant death worm heading straight for us.
Rimmer's obsession is a giant death worm for some reason.
A giant death worm. A giant death worm's come out of it.
There's nothing to do with a giant death worm. Where you get the giant death worm from?
Your clothes are on a washing line, and a mail pipe came in and crashed into your clothes.
Got it in one.
That was amazing. So now they've got a ton of mail to go through, so Rimmer and Lister have a little bet to see which of them will get a personal letter addressed to them.
Oh yes, I've got one.
Mr. Popular with a capital P, there's no stopping him. Here he goes.
Who's it from?
It's a parking fine.
Oh, but Lister might have it beat.
This boy does not know the meaning of the words of fate.
Go on then, who's it from?
Haley Summers.
It turns out to be a letter from an old girlfriend from when Lister was a musician.
What I lack technically, I made up for in loudness.
Yeah, we know.
Look, I don't want to read this. It'll make me miss home more than ever.
I'll read it.
How nice of Rimmer.
Dear Dave, I hope you don't mind me writing to you, but I've got a confession. I don't know whether to laugh or laugh. I don't know how to tell you this, but I'm pregnant.
Hang on, my head's on spin cycle here. Are you saying that I'm 3 million years into deep space and she's pregnant with my baby?
Anyway, it turns out that the father could be Lister or some guy named Roy.
Oh, not Roy. Who's the dad, me or him?
She doesn't know she's going for a DNA test.
She must have written another letter to tell me the result.
Later on, Lister goes to talk to the candy dispenser again.
I heard what happened with dispensing machine 23. She's such a trashy-looking machine. Is that what you like, Dave? Trashy?
Nothing like a jealous vending machine.
I'll go somewhere else then. You're not the only dispenser on board.
Not Roy.
Why don't you do that?
Or the guy that tries to get back at the jealous vending machine.
And you know when I said that your Mexican red hot chili crisps were really spicy? Well, I was lying.
I can't believe you said that.
There goes all the toilet paper.
And what do we get?
Thank you.
It turns out that the computer just wanted to trick them into making donations.
It repeated that the only way it could give you an absence from duty note was if you were unwell or you'd taken a sabbatical to care for an unwell member of the crew.
So this is where two of these subplots start to come together. Rimmer's idea is that Lister has PTSD for missing the human race, and he thinks he can use that. But Lister hasn't been acting badly enough to warrant that. But there's still time.
One act of saliva-dripping, mouth-foaming insanity by midnight tonight. Shouldn't be too hard.
Meanwhile, Lister is looking for that second letter, and we get one of those scenes where Kat tries to be helpful.
Yep. Just move on.
Most of which I'm obviously going to talk about in a later video, but Lister remembering all these obvious signs that his old girlfriend was cheating on him.
Yeah, she was always doing late night shifts, supervising the delivery of the unstealable pens, or staying behind to help update the bank queue waiting poll rope.
And somehow believing them at the time is pretty funny.
Hey, you don't think she was with this Roy guy?
The whole damn time.
Afterwards, Lister runs into Crichton, who gives him some actually not bad advice.
You've got new friends now. True, they may not be human, and some of them are annoying and stupid and petty and maybe even insane.
Even if it could have been worded better.
You've got to forget about the past and look after the present.
So it's back to the candy dispenser.
This is awkward.
Look, I'm sorry about before.
He wants to make it up to her, and she does have a request.
If I could have anything, absolutely anything I've always wanted to see around the corner. I know it's crazy, but it's always been a wild dream of mine.
How did this vending machine turn out to be such a great character?
Right.
It's everything I thought it was and more.
Anyway, she asks to stay in the hall, and Lister goes to move her against the wall when... Awkward.
I knew you'd come around, you naughty boy.
Maybe it'd be easier to pick it up if you got off of it first, Lister.
Wow, I have never seen a ceiling.
Rimmer sees this out of context, though I guess it's in context for the vending machine. And now all three of these subplots have come together.
Sabbatical note, here we come.
I'm just trying to pick her up.
Looks like you're well past that stage to me, sir.
Oh, Crichton. Meanwhile, there's no toilet paper, but Kat finds a pile of letters on the floor that apparently Crichton dropped at some point. One of them turns out to be Lister's letter.
You see what you guys have done to us? This is madness.
And so much for Rimmer's reports.
It won't be special in a minute.
So Lister finally has his letter.
I just noticed something. The little chain on Kat's jacket broke, or maybe it's just
for Rimmer's report.
I don't know if you guys can see it. Well, I'll try to remember to point it out when I get to the Cat video for that. But there was like two little jewels on either side of his jacket, you know, acting as a button. There's a little chain connecting them, and it looked like the chain was unattached or broken or something in that shot.
It won't be special in a minute.
So Lister finally has his letter.
There might be hundreds of generations spawned by me.
But naturally, he has a lot to think about before reading it.
She was a wonderful woman. And I'm sure she'll have been an even more wonderful mother.
Yeah, it turns out the kid wasn't his after all.
What an absolute slag.
And so ends Dear Dave.
Only the second time I've ever heard that word on this show.
This was probably the most sitcom-y episode of season 10, so it was a little hard to talk about since there wasn't any action or exploration to speak of. It was mostly jokes. Not a complaint, by the way. Again, season 10 is hilarious. Just explaining why this video might end up being a bit short. What's kind of funny is that I tend to compare the humor in season 10 to that of Seinfeld, but this episode even has a similar storytelling device. Seinfeld tended to have something like 2 to 3 subplots that would come together and show that they were similar or fit together in a way you might not expect. And this episode does that. Rimmer needing to come up with an excuse for his absence and Lister's letter from his girlfriend seem totally unrelated to each other, but the part with Lister talking to the vending machines more because he misses the human race and needs company kind of acts as a bridge between them, and it all comes together at the end. I thought that was pretty clever. I also love the vending machines in this one. Comical talking vending machines have been a thing since season 1, but I love how they're actual characters now, one of which was really quirky. Also, once again, season 10 takes an idea brought up earlier in the series and does a comedic take on it. Lister being the last human alive was played for drama in the first couple seasons, and then again in seasons 7 and 9, and then this episode comes along and treats it like a breakup. Also, the idea of Lister having a child with an ex-girlfriend is an interesting one, which could have maybe been played for more drama than it was, but then again, the episode seems to forget that he did have kids between seasons 2 and 3, and it's kind of weird that that never comes up. And again, technically, Lister isn't the last human alive because the Red Dwarf crew survived at the end of season 8. Oh well, it's still good as a standalone episode.
Yeah.
Next up is a season 10 finale, The Beginning. See you then.
Woohoo! Well, so far we're making pretty good time.
Remember that documentary we watched about breasts? You thought areolas was a Spanish goalkeeper.
But what was he, Italian?
Jesus. Well, what was he, Italian? Oh my god. Rimmer is what people think G1 Starscream is like. I always felt like G1 kind of hinted at the fact that Starscream would actually be a better leader than Megatron. Because there was always these episodes where something seemed a little bit off and Starscream would be like, hey, that doesn't seem right, and Megatron would be like, it's fine. Asking if Lister and Kachansky is incest is a complicated question. Yeah, I don't want to think about that too much. What the heck? Just don't tell her. Works for Rimmer. I'm not sure why Tolchok is talking about Prince. Are you eating on me? Why is Rimmer full of accidental innuendo? It's debatable if it's accidental or not. In defense of Rimmer, his own hobbies seem weird and eccentric by general standards, but they seem to keep him happy and occupied. That's true. He put his hand on my logo. No other comedy's been able to get so many laughs from vending machines. It's got nothing to do with the giant deathworm. Where are you getting giant deathworm from? I love how Lister's voice raises almost an entire octave in that line. He was so annoyed. You all are quoting the bits I left out. Why do they care about the edicts of a company that literally died millions of years ago? I mean, the computers still go by the rules, so I guess that's why. Also, rule of funny. Put his hand on her logo, saucy. More unhelpful helpfulness with Cat.
This is awkward, not as awkward as a vending machine being in love with you. Reconciling with an electrical appliance. You'll bonk anything, won't you, Lister? I've always wanted to see around the corner, down the hall. Wow, I've never seen the ceiling before. What an absolute slag. Cat also uses the word in the phrase, he was slagging you off. Ah, that's true, I guess. I don't remember when he said that, but I guess I thought that had a different meaning. I also think I forgot he said it. Crap, automated toilet appears, not you. Yeah. Plot twist, what if Series 8 is no longer canon? It's possible. They try to... Oh, actually, no, I take that back. I think they do reference Season 8 in the beginning. Hi, St. Clinton. Every time I try to watch an episode of any part of Seinfeld, I fall asleep within 5 minutes. Same with Friends. Okay. Now what to tell you. I like them fine. Especially Seinfeld. I love Seinfeld, actually. That reminds me of a joke. He thought the charge of the light brigade was an electricity bill. Oh, Nothing Compares to You was written by... I didn't even know that, actually. Sinead O'Connor performed it, so I guess I assumed she wrote it, too. Oh, it was a cover of a Prince song? I've never heard that version. I have no idea. I don't think soda machines have dreams. Didn't Starscream waste half their energy supply on that first episode on a test fire one of their guns? Good point. I forgot about that. To be fair, that was the pilot. And there was a lot of early installment weirdness in the pilot. Also, they're trying to keep Lister sane. Best to keep following the normal rules of society, or you'd end up walking around the ship's mall naked, drinking marijuana gin straight from the bottle. Given what kind of items are sold in Japanese vending machines, I can't help but wonder what personalities they'd have. Oh god, let's not. Let's not. The end of Series 8 seems to be non-canon, at least. Yeah, true. Although I feel like they referenced that here, but we'll see. Assuming energon is what oil is for nations and Fallout weapons needs them to power them. In the War for Cybertron games, it's shown to be the case. Vending machines dream of electric corners. Alright. Last one. Well, second to last one, hopefully.
Next up, an experiment to measure peer pressure.
We open on a classroom on Io, one of Jupiter's moons. Obviously a flashback.
Ah, Mr. Rimmer!
A brutal one, naturally, since Rimmer is involved.
Hands up. Blue?
So this teacher, who is also Rimmer's dad, decided to play a little trick on him to make a point and get on him for being late.
Green?
Basically, he has the rest of the class giving the wrong answer, and even though Rimmer knows they're wrong, he doesn't have the nerve to go against them.
A fallopian tube is a musical instrument. True or false? True?
This girl obviously likes him and tries to help him out. You wonder why no one likes you.
That kid plays a good
Back to
Rimmer.
present time, there's a security breach on G-Deck.
You killed my brother.
I love this guy. This is Hoagie the Rogie, a rogue droid with a comb-over. For some reason, he thinks that Lister killed his brother, but he doesn't know which crew member is Lister, so he just kind of goes around pointing his gun at everybody until he finds the right one. And they all tell him where to find Lister.
You killed my brother.
This is his first appearance on the show, but everyone seems to know who he is.
A duel across time and space?
No.
Why?
Okay, you were always doing this.
Apparently he showed up sometime during the gap between seasons 8 and 9.
But we're all dueled out. Our dueling days are over. Duelos are not.
We are in deep space. Light years from anywhere. There'd be nothing else to do.
Yeah, he's just doing this out of boredom.
How about a ping pong marathon? Rogue Nutters versus the Dwarfers.
We already do that. You guys, you always win.
He's adorable.
A cooking contest. Who can bake the most delicious cake will thrash you.
Not if it's a shoe pastry you want.
And makes a good shoe pastry.
If I win, a duel
across time and space.
Anyway, he's got a cloth map of the entire galaxy, which he stole from a simulant death ship.
I clever as a hedgehog.
Speak of the devils.
The hole's cracked!
There's a ship outside! They're attacking us!
But Hoagie ends up plugging the hole.
Be back. I don't know how. I don't know when.
And loses his gun.
I challenge you to a duel. Oh, what's the point?
He is not having a good day. Meanwhile, the dwarfers escape into a control room. Notice that Rimmer has an object with him. That's gonna come up later.
Everything's down, sir. We're on EPS. Trying to reboot.
In any case, they don't know what's attacking them yet.
I have a suggestion, sirs.
What?
How about we look out of the window?
Sometimes the old ways are the best ways.
So Crichton does that.
What's out there? A rogue simulant death ship, sir.
Should we be concerned?
It's called a death ship. What do you think?
Simulants! These are the guys who despise humans, right?
I guess it makes sense to explain what simulants are, since before this season we hadn't seen any since Beyond a Joke, 15 years before, and they were probably worried people seeing the show for the first time would be confused. That's probably also why they had Sim Crawford show up in Trojan.
Death ships are captained by special berserker generals who've been crossbred to create an insane biomechanical entity of pure evil.
Okay, that's new. By the way, this scene was one of the ones they had to film later, but they did a rehearsal in front of the audience to get an idea of where they should pause for the laughter.
Those simulants, sir. That's what you want to say.
Robert Llewellyn hadn't learned his lines yet, so he had to read them. So here's Crichton with glasses. It's a surprisingly good look for him.
That is the oddest experience I've ever had on my trip.
We actually get to see inside the death ship, and it's kind of cool in a dark middle.
Oh, these guys! I forgot.
Anyway,
I love these
of course
guys.
They failed in killing Lister, so
How'd I forget
Chancellor
about
asks
them?
for forgiveness and...
Forgiveness is a human quality, Chancellor. It has no meaning to a simulant general. You know what you must do.
Cue this agonizingly drawn-out scene where he uses the sword to commit seppuku with tons of implied gore.
Firstly,
But then it turns out that he only needed to polish that sword.
secondly, write me a formal letter of apology.
So you just want me to polish your sword and write a letter?
The scene is so ridiculous.
You do have a tendency to jump to conclusions. Let this be a little lesson to you.
That bit looks important.
I love these two so much. Meanwhile, Hoagie's gun is a molecular destabilizer which lets them go through the floor. It's also how Hoagie got onto Red Dwarf. He attached his ship to the outside and went through the walls. They get to a blue midget, and the object Rimmer still has with him is brought up again. It turns out that it plays hollow messages.
My father gave it to me when I was a boy. He told me to play it the day I become an officer and join the Space Corps. The day I become a somebody. Should have been played, right?
Anyway, they escape on Blue Midget and are chased by 3 Annihilator ships. Lister takes them into an asteroid field so they'll be harder to find, and they end up hiding inside one of the asteroids. Wow, this feels like season 6 all of a sudden. I am all over that.
This is totally unacceptable. I agree, my Dominator. The security forces have been shambolic. Those responsible should be agonized.
I agree also.
Back in the death ship, the general is tired of everyone kissing up to him.
Question my judgments. Only then will we be truly strong.
Dominator, that simply isn't true. I mean, the last person to contradict you is...
Kill him.
What?
And that's why they do it.
Find the ship!
Oh.
Anyway, the stimulants send probes into the asteroid field to try to find Blue Midget.
Is that it? We're all gonna die? Well, you're all going to die.
Then Rimmer starts gloating about how he can't die because he died once already.
What's that coming down the corridor? Ooh, it looks like a radiation leak. Why, I'm dead. At least my death was dignified.
I'd hardly call yelling mummy, mummy dignified.
Lister, I didn't yell mummy, mummy.
No, you said gazpacho soup.
No, you didn't have the time. You just yelled, "M."
Kind of a weird
Lister points out that
retcon.
they've been in worse situations, and Crichton mentions an interesting one.
Like the time that highly corrosive microorganism almost destroyed Red Dwarf.
Hey, we got out of that one.
Yeah, thanks to me.
Oh, sir, you cannot claim the credit for that.
You think that was an accident, the way I...
Like the creators are ever going to tell us what happened at the end of Season 8. Anyway, the simulants are getting closer,
There
so
it
they
is.
have to figure out what to do. Surprisingly, Lister asks Rimmer if he can come up with a plan.
Why me? Because you're into military strategy. If it was a towel folding competition to the death,
Oh, that would be me.
Settle down there, Criters, it's only hypothetical.
I win that one, sir. And what kind of competition to the death would it have to be before you chose me? So moving on.
Come on, Lister. Dance competition? Fashion show?
Oh, thank you, George.
Oh, well, rule of funny.
Can you do it?
Yes, of course I can.
Used to buy
So,
sword balls or
Rimmer is
whatever you
obviously
like.
feeling the pressure, but he's determined to pull through.
I've waited my whole life for this moment. Command of my own ship in a battle against overwhelming odds. It'll be just like taking an exam.
Yeah, maybe don't treat it like taking an exam. You don't have the best track record with those.
We're smeg.
But nope, that's exactly how he's gonna treat it, down to the timetable chart. It's been ages since I listened to Infinity Welcome's Careful Drivers, but I seem to recall that the reason Rimmer kept failing his astronavigation exams is because he blew most of his time making these elaborate scheduling charts and ended up with no time to actually study. The chart was also mentioned in a Season 1 episode.
Wait, is this the thing in all different colours with all the subjects divided into study periods and rest periods and self-testing time? I threw it away.
You can pause this and read the whole thing if you want, but I'm just going to point out a couple that are especially funny to me. He plans on spending the first hour reading 3 strategy books, one of which is I Did It the Reich Way by Adolf Hitler. 15 minutes into hour 2 is a snack break, and then 30 minutes into hour 4 is another snack break. Don't have the same snack, diversity. There are also different colored pens involved. He plans on spending the last 15 minutes tidying his workspace, and then in the last 5 minutes think of a brilliant plan.
I love
this bit.
I'm still at the can't think of a plan stage.
Meanwhile, Crichton has taken stock of all of the weapons they have on board.
Hi, Nate.
2 forks
That's
and a
awesome.
pencil sharpener.
There is, of course, Hoagie's Molly D.
I love how he calls the molecular destabilizer Molly D. That's cute. Afterwards, Cat, being a cat, comes in and starts bothering Rimmer.
You know why?
Forgot about this
Because you're
bit.
an idiotic cat.
Cat's great here.
No? Why you can't think of a plan, dummy?
He's got a great moment here where he offhandedly mentions that Rimmer can't think of a plan because he can't get over not having his father's approval. So he needs to figure out how to get that demon out of his head. So Rimmer is going to play the hollow message from his father.
If I play it before I've become the person he wanted me to become, it means I don't care what he thinks anymore. I'm free of him.
Well, that's profound. So let's see what's in this message.
Arnold, I'm not your father.
I love this little Star Wars reference. Actually, it's 2 of them combined.
But that's impossible. It's not true.
Look inside yourself and you'll know I speak the truth.
Anyway, it turns out that
That's
Rimmer's
great.
bio dad was the gardener who they called Dungo, which is kind of funny because it was hinted at earlier in the series that Rimmer's mom may have slept around, so now we have proof.
Now, from now on, your family line isn't made up of Austrian princes and French royalty, but of lame-brained artisans and pram-faced trollops.
Anyway, they didn't tell him because they thought it would be a blow to his self-esteem.
P.S. Naturally, I won't be sending you any more birthday presents.
Yeah, well, you're dead anyway, so fuck off. Rimmer doesn't say a word at first.
Thought he came from a military family, high flyers, success ingrained in the very core of their DNA. Now he discovers he's no better than me. What a nightmare.
But then he returns after a bit with a surprisingly fresh view of his situation.
If Dungo, I mean Dad, were here now, he'd be so proud. Suddenly I don't have that voice in my head telling me I'm useless at everything.
God, I'm so damn happy for Rimmer right now I could cry.
I can think, and I think I've got a plan.
But they all hate his plan. So they take a vote, which is kind of pointless since there's only 4 of them, but it harkens back to the flashback in the beginning where Rimmer is afraid to go against everyone else.
Is it purple, blue, or green? Cube. It's a musical instrument.
Love
But
this.
determined not to let his dad get back into his head, he digs in and refuses to buckle.
It'll work! Jiu-jitsu style! Use the might of your opponent against himself. We have nothing to fear but fear itself. Apart from pain. And maybe humiliation.
Well, that was almost a good speech.
I know I need to work harder on that fear speech. It wasn't quite as rousing as it should be, but we can do this!
Come on, come on!
I love that they take the forks. So Blue Midget leaves the meteor and the simulants
Don't leave the
spot it
forks.
and surround them. Rimmer character development, woo.
Keep them in line, it's absolutely crucial.
Rimmer opens up communications with them.
Under Treaty 5 of the Geneva Convention, we claim the freedoms and privileges of prisoners of war.
Ha! That's cute that he thinks they'll follow the Geneva Convention.
Mutilators loaded, Your Excellency.
You can't open fire on a surrendering ship.
Prepare to fire on my orders.
Right. You're on report, Milano.
This is all to kill time, actually. As in character as all this sounds, Rimmer actually knows what he's doing.
Right, that's it.
It's the way.
Get out the pen.
You live, you die.
But sometimes you live, you die, and then you live again. I know. I've done it myself.
No!
He has Lister fire the Molly D in all 4 directions so the missiles pass through harmlessly.
Beato's recognition course, sir. Under Treaty 5 of the Geneva Convention, we claim the freedoms and privileges of prisoners of war.
Sorry, I missed that.
I love this scene so much. And the simulants end up destroying all
I
their
forgot
own
that I
ships.
squealed.
And it is amazing. And now Rimmer and Lister have more in common than they thought.
You know what this makes me? A working class hero.
Working class hero, you and me both.
Crichton, set a course for Red Dwarf. The slime's,
slime's coming home.
Hang on, there's a post-credit sequence.
Once again, Big Arm saves the day.
Sir, can we sort this out once and for all? Just because you happen to...
Yuki's my brother.
Oh yeah, Hoagie was still on the ship. And so ends the beginning. I love this episode, and I thought it put a nice cap on Season 10. Hoagie the Rogie was actually a holdover from the unmade Red Dwarf movie, and was played by the same guy who played the creator in Back to Earth. The simulants in this one are similar to a type that was to be in the movie, and they're more humanoid looking than previous ones we've seen. Their uniforms remind me of Civil War soldiers, though apparently they were inspired by Dune. I love these guys, and they get a lot of screen time. I was really hoping they'd turn up again somehow, but it's 2 seasons later at the time I'm recording this, and I guess they're gone for good. No sign of Hoagie the Rogie since this one either. Season 10 was definitely the season of Rimmer. First we met his brother Howard in Trojan, and then in Lemons we learned the real reason why his middle name is Judas, and more about his family's history. And now not only does he learn that his father isn't who he thought he was, he actually gets over that and comes out stronger and more confident for it. Remember how in Better Than Life, the game was ruined because Rimmer got obsessed with how he never met his dad's approval, and it had a domino effect? That never really got resolved. It's been like a parasite that's been gnawing at the back of his brain for years, and he conquered it because he realized how little this guy's opinion actually meant.
Go Rimmer.
Oh, and also he gets 4 simulant ships to destroy each other and even manages to be smug about it. We also got to see Rimmer as a teenager, so that was interesting. This kid was great, by the way. Not that I hate seasons 11 and 12 or anything, but in a way I kind of wish they had ended the series after this episode. Personally, I wouldn't want a series finale to wrap up everything neatly, have them return to Earth, etc. I would prefer one that leaves things open so we can imagine if the crew made it back to Earth or not. As long as it ended on a
That'd
positive
be the best
note.
way to do it.
I think having Rimmer take this level and badass would have been a great way to end things. Not to mention how it comes full circle with Rimmer repeating Lister's final line from the pilot episode, which was called The End, and this episode being called The Beginning. I just think that would have been perfect.
Vegan Force.
Also, season 10 was
I forgot
pretty
about
solid
that.
overall and made a lot of callbacks to earlier episodes, so it really would have ended the series on a high note. Also, as much as I loved season 10 for its comedy, I like that we got some action here. Like I said, it feels like a season 6 episode, with the Dwarfers showing that when push comes to shove, they can do pretty well for themselves. Speaking of which, the spaceships all looked great. I could have sworn it was CG, but nope, they're models. Seriously, I love season 10, and again, like with season 6, I'm a little sad that I'm done talking about it. Regarding the issue about what I think happened to Rimmer between seasons 8 and 9, I meant to make a video about that sooner, but time kind of got away from me. And it just makes more sense for it to be its own video, however short a video that might end up being. So, if that's not done when this video goes up, it should be soon. Speaking of which, I've decided to take a little break before getting to seasons 11 and 12. Basically, since those are so new, I've only seen each of those episodes once, and I don't even remember them too well. So I want to give them another watch on my own time and give them a second chance before making videos about them. I don't know how long of a break it'll be, but I promise this one is temporary. It's not like with My Little Pony where I stopped making them indefinitely. Whenever I do get back to these, next up will be Twentica. See you then.
The likes of which you have never seen.
Don't be so quick to say everything's the likes of which we haven't seen. We've seen things the likes of which you probably haven't seen yourself.
Is that a challenge?
Whoops. Ah! Okay, let me get caught up on the chat and then we'll just... Yeah, this Rimmer video is only like 4 minutes long, so... Get caught up on the chat and then we'll watch that and then I will wrap up. After I get caught up on the chat again. What happened? Oh no, I guess I didn't select the text on the last message I read. Or maybe I did and I scrolled past it. I could turn off this heater now and get a little warm now. Oh, there it is. It was just a really short message that I highlighted. So I'm just scanning over the comments that I don't feel like I need to. I once knew someone at work who actually got sent down to the stockroom looking for some fallopian tubes and he fell for it. On a first viewing, I thought he kept saying, "You kissed my brother." Yeah. Yeah, he talks a little funny. He's a little hard to understand. This is the same show where they had two Optimus Primes race each other to prove who's the real Optimus Prime. Season 2 was pretty stupid. I wouldn't say Season 2 overall was stupid, but yeah, that bit was dumb. Like, gee, maybe the guy who called Ironhide Bumblebee isn't the real Prime. No, we'll just have them race each other? Okay, sure. I love that Hoagie is a regular visitor that we just never saw before who visits them out of boredom. That just shows how desperate he is. Yeah. I like how Lister seems to actually care about Rogie, telling him that he'll be back for him when he can. Yeah, that's typical Lister there. More episodes means more Dina, for better or for worse. It's a fun bait and switch scene. Yeah, it is the Harry Carey bit. I love the Empire Strikes Back reference when Rimmer plays the hologram. Yeah, that's a great bit. I'm glad somebody explained what shoe pastry was. I actually couldn't remember how to spell it, but I know it wasn't it wasn't like the kind of shoe you wear on your foot. Based on that scene, it means that there are a lot of Rimmers in other realities who never played the message and learned the truth. Oh yeah, good point. Probably more Lister messing with Rimmer than a retcon. That, yeah, true. Him saying mummy. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't have to explain what a shoe pastry was. They also call it pat a shoe. Still watch these to go to bed every night. Wow. I think I remember you saying that in a comment, or somebody did. I assume it must have been you. Some surprising wisdom from Kat here. I love it when Kat does shit like that. Rowan J. Coleman has 2 over-hour-long videos on Red Dwarf. I may have watched that. I like the Molly D, even though it does make me think of those awful Sunny D commercials from the 90s. Yeah, those were annoying. Orange juice, purple stuff, Sunny D. Arnold, I'm not your father, but that can't be true. It's impossible. Look inside yourself. You know it to be true. That's so funny. It's the end of season 6 again, where Rimmer saves the day. Yeah, well, I did compare it to season 6. I was thinking more of Gunmen of the Apocalypse, I think it was, where they blew up the simulant ship. I have to wonder, would the fallopian tube be in C tuning? They need those forks. What if they arrive for another meal where the only available utensils are antimatter chopsticks? Excuse me. Rimmer's crowning moment of badass, Ace not included. Yep. It's a brilliant revelation in the end because it recontextualizes Rimmer's cowardly nature into something that's caused by a man he thought was his father. Yeah. They're just bored by Hoagie, not even threatened by him. Yeah. They're just like, oh, it's this guy again. Well, the Dune uniforms were inspired by military uniforms of the 19th century, so it makes sense. Oh, well, there you go. No wonder. I can't remember that clip where Rimmer and Lister are close enough to kiss. Rimmer got to engage smug mode. What's neat about Rimmer's development in the end is that it remained after the episode, and it's something that isn't too obvious unless you're paying attention to what he's doing since. The reason it was wrapped up so neatly is that they thought it was going to be the ending. They didn't expect it to be as big of a hit as it was after the lackluster response to Back to Earth. That makes sense. I've probably heard that before, too. Have you done that video of what happened after Series 8 yet? No, that's next, actually. Season 10 was a great return to form for me. It was pretty solid overall, yeah. Twentica, where we get to see Rimmer's stage dancing. Oh, yeah. Oh, too late. I already responded to your other comment. Quite frankly, I like the idea that the alleged glamorous Rimmer family history was all bollocks. Yeah. Could you do a filmed in on Dune? I've never even really seen Dune all the way through the original. I haven't seen the new ones yet. Or new one? I can't remember if they did part 2 or not. All this talk about pastry is making me fancy a sausage roll right now. That does sound good. And yeah, and there goes the food stream. Not a Dina stream without talking about food, Sonic, Red Dwarf, and Silent Hill. The edible kind. Often wonder if they thought that would be the series finale with an occasional specials later on. Last Sunday I wasn't able to attend as I was at a chili festival and partook in a in a shot and holler contest where I drank a shot of honey tequila mixed with 1+ million Scoville hot sauce. I don't know what that means, but I'm going to assume it's very hot. Hi, Inti Equus. Do you like Cult Divinity Lost? I've never heard of it. The original Dune movie it's David Lynch directed it. You can figure it out, yeah. And like, now that I've seen Twin Peaks and Eraserhead, I kind of do want to go back and watch Dune. Not with high expectations, mind you, but just out of curiosity. I love how Robot Chicken parodied the Sunny D commercials by making the weird nebulous purple stuff a miracle beverage that puts Sunny D on blast and how bad it actually tastes. That's funny. I then gave a metal scream for the holler, although I didn't win, I didn't come in last. That's cool. Like someone dumped perfume in orange juice. I haven't had it in years, but I used to love Sunny Delight. Although, didn't they actually rebrand it to Sunny D at some point? Basically sauce over 3 times the heat of a habanero. Ah, okay. Cult is like Hellraiser, but in an RPG. Oh, okay. Oh, so it's a game. Okay. Damn, I'm running a little bit late, but this is only 4 minutes, so I guess we'll power through one more. Plus, this is the last appearance of Ace Rimmer, so far anyway. So this Rimmer's fate is completely unknown. Well, I guess it's time to address the elephant in the room with a big H on its forehead. When I covered Season 7, where Rimmer became Ace, and 8, where Rimmer was resurrected by nanobots and still alive at the end, but a hologram again in Season 9, people kept bringing that up in the comments section, and I said I would make a video talking about what I think happened. First of all, I'll acknowledge what seems to be the popular theory, that Ace showed up at the end of Season 8, saved Red Dwarf, and switched places with Season 8 Rimmer, so live Rimmer from Season 8 is now off somewhere being Ace, and the former Ace decided to drop the moniker and rejoin the Dwarfers, hence the Rimmer on the show is a hologram again with old Rimmer's memories. I have been told that Doug Naylor has confirmed this at some point in some interview or something, but I haven't seen any proof of that, so I don't know if that's something that really happened or if someone just experienced a Mandela effect.
But basically, what happened at the end of Series 8 was...
Hell, someone even told me that it was revealed in a text crawl at the beginning of Back to Earth, and I can show you right now that that isn't the case. And besides, even if Doug did confirm that at some point, he could end up changing his mind before it ended up in an episode. If it hasn't happened on screen, it's not canon. In any case, I have a couple of issues with that theory. Mainly that we see Rimmer grow a lot in the process of becoming Ace. And while I know Rimmer showing up in Lister's dream in blue isn't exactly canon, the way he behaves feels like a natural progression. Well, up to a point, obviously. He's a lot more confident and laid back. He's basically become his own version of Ace. He's been through some stuff and it's changed him.
No, I'm only kidding.
If Ace were to ever come back, he'd probably be acting something like this.
I just thought it was time I lightened up a bit.
Minus making out with Lister, of course. Now, let's jump ahead to Season 9. Rimmer is right back to being a big ball of anxiety and insecurity. I don't believe for a second that this Rimmer was ever Ace. He doesn't act like it at all.
You really don't like me, do you?
And frankly, Rimmer becoming Ace was a huge deal in my opinion. It took a hell of a lot of coaxing, but he eventually got over his fears and did what he needed to do. He grew so much in such a short time.
Well done, honey. You've done us proud.
I just don't like the idea of taking all that character development that he got when he became Ace and just throwing it all out the window just to restore the status quo. And remember, part of that was seeing the light bees of millions of Rimmers who all became Ace, and realizing that if all of them could do it, then so could he.
All those Rimmers? Are you really going to be the one to break the chain?
To give up that moniker would mean that he just changed his mind one day and basically went, fuck those guys. Yeah, that wouldn't be out of character for old Rimmer, but again, character development. The theory that is the most simple and sound to me is that Rimmer died at the end of Season 8. I mean, he meets the Grim Reaper. That's kind of universal code for this person is about to die. Sometime later, the Dwarfers found themselves missing Rimmer and or they needed another crew member, so they resurrected the Rimmer they knew best as a hologram with memories leading up to the point just before he became Ace. Maybe even combined with Season 8's Rimmer, maybe not. That way we can have seasons 1 through 7 Rimmer back without having to screw with the storyline from Stoke Me a Clipper.
Hey-ho, pip and dandy.
That's the theory I prefer, and that's the one I'm going to stick with until something happens on the show to prove me wrong. To be honest, though, I don't think they'll ever reveal what really happened. They have too much fun messing with us. At the end of the day, though, this isn't a hill I'm willing to die on. You all can have whatever headcanon you want. I just wanted to put this out there because people kept bringing it up after I mentioned that the version of Rimmer at the end of Stoke Me a Clipper hasn't returned. In my mind, he hasn't. I never even considered that the version of Rimmer in seasons 9 and up could be Ace before people brought it up in the comments section, and it doesn't make sense to me now. So there you go. That's my take on what happened to Rimmer between seasons 8 and 9. Boring maybe, but usually the simplest explanation is the most likely one. That's it for now. See you next time.
No right left now, apart from Quimmer, they fade us out before we get to Shimmer.
Play out, you stupid blimmer. Do. Twentica. Now we're up to see seasons 11 and 12, which aren't quite as good. Oh, they do have their moments, though. Crisis was a fun one. Just glancing over these. Give and Take was pretty good. I guess season 11 was pretty good. Season 12 was where it was kind of a little bit iffy, but there were some good episodes in that too, so Well, hello, so. Speak of the kitty devil. What's going on, baby boy? Only David Lynch film I've seen is Mulholland Drive. It's certainly a film that happens. I like David Lynch. He's interesting. Haven't had Sunny D since the 90s. I guess I probably haven't either. I liked it then, but it wasn't my go-to. Dune is weird, yeah. I could imagine. It's very fun, but very confusing. Time to watch Rimmer give the Grim Reaper the old British knuckles again. Yep, I definitely included that. Really like your videos. Thank you for all your work. Greetings from Mexico. Well, thank you. Not revealing what happened at the end of Series 8 is just a running joke at this point. Yeah, like, I don't even care anymore. I didn't care that much to begin with, to be honest. I just, like, saw that Rimmer was a hologram in season 9. I'm like, okay, well, I guess he died in season 8. Cool, whatever. My headcanon season 8 saves the ship but sacrifices himself. But something went wrong and it would destroy both Hollies at the same time. So as their last act, both Hollies tried to bring back Rimmer as a hologram, so they both brought back their version of Rimmer, and the two got mixed together in the process. I guess that makes sense. Excuse me. I remember seeing this and wondering if the elephant was one of the choices the computer went through when initializing form at the start of Siren, so at one point I checked, but no. But the T-Rex... Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm just like... You just said the big blue elephant with the H on its forehead, because I thought it was funny. I stopped wondering it after season 10. Like I say, they can't even make up their minds what century the characters were born in. Yeah, good point. My headcanon is that Series 8 Rimmer died sometime in the interim, and now being a hologram has inherited old Rimmer's memories too. Yeah, that was basically my theory. That, you know, up to like right before he became Ace. Maybe combined with season 8 Rimmer. But like this Rimmer was never Ace. My overall take on it is that Doug Naylor sat down to write the later episodes and Smeg happened. Yeah, pretty much. Crisis on Infinite Red Dwarfs. No rhymes left now apart from Quimmer. We hope they fade us out before we get too schlimmer. Fade out, you stupid Plimmer. With enough charm to fill one hoof. You like my theory about Rimmer? Thank you. It's just the one that seems the most simple to me. Makes the most sense. Hello, good kitty. In Fallout terms, he's got a 1 in charisma. I love how your cat mascot seems to be swinging her tail to the tune and looking at the screen at the end. I love how that animation just kind of accidentally syncs up perfectly with whatever music I use. Come on, Soul, let's see your adorably doopy face. I'll bet he's gone. Yeah, I don't think he's around anymore. Nope, no so. No so. Schrodinger's Rimmer. Red Dwarf is a series that encourages you to create your own headcanon because the canon explanations are always lackluster. Like the Lister was born with 2 appendixes. Yeah. Occam's razor. Yeah, that is the term for that, isn't it? I still wonder about that T-Rex. I know, Rimmer could have been a T-Rex. Simplest solution is usually the best one, yeah. Now it over in Dunatopia. Sad now. Well, I didn't go too far over. I'm only running a few minutes late here, so that's not too bad. We got through season 10. If I didn't do the Rimmer video, we would be stopping in time, so that works out. Hopefully we can watch all of season 11 next time, etc. Oh, I've also got the Thanks for the Memory versus Clues, which is 18 minutes long, so that might throw things off. I remember someone compiled several theories about how Lister had 2 appendixes. The first 3 were interesting, but complicated. The last one was simply Rob and Doug screwed up. Yeah, pretty much. I think sometimes they just lose track of some of the ideas they've come up with. You know what? I'll commission a fiction writer to write what analytical Twilight Sparkle thinks about what happened after season 8. I would love to read that. That would be funny at the very least. Yeah, I would totally read that. I haven't read any pony fan fiction in ages, but I would read that. Maybe post-Series 8 Rimmer is neither of the 2 Rimmers from the BBC era, and it's a completely different but sadly similar Rimmer. Well, no, because he has the memories of the older one, so Rimmer could be a T-Rex and would still hide in the toilet if a fight broke out. God, that'd be funny. What if that Dunce Gardener was secretly Rimmer who traveled back in time to be his own father? Oh my god. To Futurama or to Lister, more likely. What continuity, yeah. Old Rimmer having left doesn't mean that the backup of his memories left, but old Rimmer having left means no backup of memories is Ace. Oh my god. If season 8 Rimmer dies, he absorbs the memories of old Rimmer. That made my head spin for some reason. Which is the Hitler is Now Good episode. I love that one. That's the first one of season 12. I was about to say, season 12 wasn't that good, and then I spotted Cured. I'm like, oh, okay, well, that one was good. Oh, God, season 12 has Time Wave. That tracks. Because the 2 data caches were merged. Okay, well. Turn off this heater. Thanks for joining me, everybody. This was fun. I may or may not do this next week. I don't know. I keep meaning to play Stray, but I have to, like, at least, give it a little test play on my own time first to make sure I understand how to play it and everything, but I keep forgetting, so we'll see. I may just end up watching We may just end up watching season 11 of Red Dwarf. Yeah, but given that alternate universe exists and Series 7's Crichton setting a precedent, we could be looking at a third Rimmer who got experienced. Oh my god, this is too much. Toodly Pipsky. Skipper is a good final episode. Yeah, that is a good one, come to think of it. Thanks for the stream, Rimmer. Cheerios. All right, thanks for joining me, everybody. I'll see you next week, whatever I end up doing. Again, probably Red Dwarf. All right, have a good evening. Have a good rest of your weekend. Bye.